All right, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of Where's My Super Soap. It's your boy, Phony Toast, the toast with the most.
TASK Task 1 in the building.
All right, and today we are talking about the biggest thing in entertainment today in comics, in movies, and some would say a little bit in animation. Star Wars.
Now, that's funny that you bring it up like that. I was talking to a friend about this. Is Star Wars the biggest franchise ever?
I'd almost say yes.
I would say yes in one thing, because you don't have to see a single Star Wars film, watch a single Star Wars cartoon, but you know who Darth Vader is.
You do.
You know who Luke Skywalker is. Like, these names are known worldwide. This isn't just an American thing. Like, everybody knows Star Wars. So I'm saying, we went to the grocery store. They're selling BB-8 oranges. It's an orange, but it has BB-8 on it. I'm like, say, oh.
BB-8, baby. BB-8.
I'm tired of BB-8 already. I'm tired of it.
Best thing to hit Star Wars ever.
Ever. Still Vader on mine. Still Vader on mine. Still Vader on mine.
Dude, that's too funny. But I would almost say that, yes, Star Wars is, if not one of the biggest franchises, the most well-known franchises.
I say it would be, yeah.
Like you're saying, it's not just characters. Because one, Darth Vader is a character. Everybody knows him.
Right.
People might argue, okay, we can say the same about Wolverine. Well, people understand the Force. People understand lightsabers.
Right.
People understand Death Star.
Right.
So people understand different aspects of the movie that don't just fit into one set of knowledge where, okay, well, this actor's really famous, like a Harrison Ford. People who know Harrison Ford will know that he's Han Solo, will know that he's Indiana Jones, will know that, the one-armed man did it. Everybody knows. But when you look at something like Star Wars, people understand different parts of the mythology. People understand the toys, people understand the powers, people understand the characters.
Right.
And like you said, everybody. If you pull out a lightsaber, people know it's a lightsaber.
People know that's a lightsaber. Like, people know of Wolverine, but they don't know Wolverine. You get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
They don't know that his name is Logan. They don't know that he's a mutant. Not everybody.
If I were to say James Howlett to you, you would probably think some guy who owns a state up the river, right? Nobody would think, oh, well, that's Logan, a.k.a. Wolverine's birth name.
Exactly.
Or given name, if you will, depending on which one of his origins you go with. The primary one, though, I believe it's still James Howlett. Right.
And if you look at every car commercial nowadays, it's all Star Wars. Like, every single one of them has some kind of Star Wars thing on it. Like, they're putting Star Wars everywhere. I haven't seen Wolverine oranges. Like, I haven't seen Wolverine's. They have Wolverine stuff for, like fruit snacks and stuff like that, but nothing in the way of Star Wars. Definitely not.
Nothing at all. And what they're doing, I think, right now, bringing us in the movies a new cast of Star Wars, new characters, a new story, and then in the comic books, filling in some of those gaps.
Yes,
taking those characters that people know, people love, and saying, here's what happened to them.
You're referring to the Star Wars, the Marvel book, right?
The Marvel Star Wars book. Okay. I'm from not even just the mainline Marvel Star Wars book, because there is a book titled Star Wars that is the mainline Star Wars Marvel book.
Right.
But when you go over to other titles like Vader, when you go over to other titles like Princess Leia, when you go over to Lando, these are all stories that happened after A New Hope, but prior to Episode 7. So right now it seems like a lot of the stories are contained between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. For example, the main Star Wars storyline starts right after the Death Star is destroyed.
Exactly. Right.
So we get a look at that gap between the two movies that that people grew up on.
Right. Because it takes place between Episode 4. God, I hate calling it that. I won't ever call it A New Hope. If you want to call it A New Hope, call it A New Hope. I call it Star Wars, because that's what it is. I don't care. I don't care. You can get mad at me. Anyways, it takes place between Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back, and that was actually my biggest complaint about it at first, was that I didn't know when I first bought these books. Like, I'm like, okay, this is definitely canon, because for those of you who've been living under a rock, Disney owns Marvel and Star Wars. They own both, so it just makes sense that they put the Star Wars books. They're all under the same umbrella. And if you haven't been reading the books, I highly suggest you do. It's some of the best stuff out. And it's crazy. They're putting the best writers and the best artists on these books. And I've seen a lot of people complaining about it. They're like, oh, well, a lot of comics haven't been doing so well because, they put, Marvel's comics not doing well. They're putting their best creators on Star Wars. Well, look at the top 10. Look at the top 10 list. Every Star Wars book they put out is killing everything. Marvel has never had anything that could beat Batman. Batman has always shitted on the Marvel. I'm talking for years. For years, Batman's been shitting on Marvel.
Don't let that man get a miniseries. Don't let him do it.
No, seriously, it's like the Batman book has been shitting on Marvel. Now Marvel has something that they can say, "Ha, we stunting on Batman now." You know what I'm saying? Like, even when they did the new Dark Knight book, even the Star Wars book still did better. So it's like, you gotta, from a business standpoint, because let's be honest here, it's a business. Like, comics is a business. Star Wars is a business.
$4 billion invested in this franchise. That's what I'm
saying. They're like, dude, we're going to make our money. And they're doing it. So I'm not mad at it. Let's be honest here. Disney is not some cute, funny little creatures that you guys growing up. No. Disney is a bunch of fat Jewish dudes who are trying to get paid. It's not a racist comment. It's the truth.
No,
it's the straight truth.
There's only one falsity. Who are getting paid.
No, exactly.
No trying about it, right? These people are getting paid.
These guys don't give a shit. Did you hear what they just announced recently with Star Wars and Disneyland?
No.
They're shutting down like 10 attractions.
Oh yeah.
They're shutting shit down to make way for Star Wars Land.
I did.
They're making way for this. They don't give a fuck that you've gone there.
Davy Crockett.
Yeah, like the big something with a train and Western. Y'all motherfuckers weren't going there. No. Come on, I don't even know what it's called.
They took the deserted areas out and they're making way for the future.
They're making way for what's hot right now. They're making way for this is what's making money. So that's what we're gonna roll with. No one goes there for big country, whatever the fuck it is, and they don't care. They're shutting it down. You don't like it? Get over it. That's pretty much how Disney is. They're harsh. They're mean. Look at what they did with the Star Wars books. Poor Dark Horse Comics. That was 75% of their revenue. 75% of Dark Horse Comics revenue came from the Star Wars books. And Disney said, "Oh, when that license up, all right, word." They took it right back.
Yeah, they did.
It's crazy.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I can agree with what they're doing, and I do sadly see the ramifications of these changes to these books. And what I mean is, when you read the current X-Men, all the 9 different X-Men books, the 9 different Avengers / Inhumans / I'm not sure what anybody is, but you feel the lower writing caliber, I would call it. You feel the lack of attention to the storyline, as I feel that Marvel is trying to find their place, because it's hard, I think, for Marvel to look at a book and say, well, we have some of the same writers that are now writing these characters, and they're 10 times more successful than our standard Marvel characters, than our X-Men, than our Inhumans, than our Fantastic Four, than all these other characters. I think you almost have to sit back and look at it and say, are we writing this universe well? Are we writing the same stories over and over? Or is what people want just something more original? And I think that although we know Star Wars, I think Star Wars right now does feel fresh. The stories feel a little more original. They feel a little more fleshed out.
You're referring to the new movie, right? The new one that just came out?
I'm referring. I'm talking about the books. I'm talking about just the books. The way the books are, because Marvel mainline, and like you said, Dark Horse has been writing the comics for a while. Mainstream Marvel hasn't been writing these comics.
Exactly.
Mainstream Marvel.
Well, they did it first. The old Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
They did it first. Way back. When it first came out.
That was a lot. That was late 70s.
Yeah, I got you.
So I'm saying right now,
well, here's the deal.
I feel that these stories are fresher than what they've delivered, even with a reboot of the Marvel Universe. I still feel these stories in Star Wars have a fresher tone than the stories that they do in Marvel.
And I think they do, and I think one of the main reasons why is because this, I mean, let's be honest here, I've been saying that a lot, let's be honest here, but Disney has their hands all in this. This is Disney. Since this is the first time that Star Wars has been 100% being handled under one umbrella. See, Star Wars, Lucasfilm has been licensing it out to all these, there's like 100 Star Wars books, there's like different shows and different this and that. Now Disney just took it all and just took it in, and they pretty much got rid of a lot of canon. They got rid of pretty much all those books that we grew up reading, like all the novels and stuff.
Yeah,
they're like, nah, that doesn't count anymore.
The whole extended universe that was built out there, the whole Star Wars wiki, if you will, is now just considered.
Yeah, you know there's a bunch of Star Wars fans out there who are losing their minds over this. They're losing their minds over this because there's a lot. Like Luke grew up and had twins. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what happened in the book. And Chewbacca died.
Was it Luke that had twins? Because I thought it was Leia and Han. I thought had twins.
I think it was Luke. I could be wrong. Jaden
and one other one, and both of them grew up to be. Yeah, because see, if I recall correctly, hold on, I'm digging in the memory banks here. All right, Luke, Han Solo, and Princess Leia still had kids.
Okay,
they had 2 kids. They were twins.
Yeah, the
Jaden and somebody else. The twins grew up and they were trained by Luke initially, and one of the twins, I want to say it was Jaden, had a big part of his quest where he went to go get Luke, who went to the dark side. So Luke still went out to go find the whole Jedi Temple. In his search, he found darker powers of the Force. And they say all the greatest Jedi learn both sides of the Force at one point in time. Yada yada yada.
I get what you're saying.
And I thought, and this was my belief, that if you are a master or you're considered high in the Jedi Order, you didn't take family. And I believe that was one of the big things that was part of the first 3 episodes in the movie, the prequels, was that Anakin was on the path to be a Jedi Master, but he was trying to get married to Padme, and the Jedi Order, that was forbade to a degree. So it was, to my understanding, at least I always thought, that Luke followed that same path. Luke didn't have children.
Right, Luke didn't have children. I'm looking this up while we're doing this just to make sure. Yeah, you're right. Jaina and Jason Solo.
Jaina and Jason. Okay, that's
Jada and Jason. See, I never read the novels. I'll be 100 with you guys. If you guys did, please feel free to correct us. Because I never read the books.
I read that shit.
Okay, fine, motherfucker. Shit. I fall back. I
think it's an interesting perspective because I can kind of speak to one of those people where I knew about the Sun Eater. It was different. It was a different weapon, slightly in the way it worked in the comic books. If I recall correctly, in the comic books, what it actually did was it shot a type of missile or torpedo into the sun. Of the solar system, and then it wiped out the solar system. It didn't actually engulf.
Right,
which I thought was an interesting play when you get to certain stories, of being able to engulf the sun and then reutilize its energy, which is oddly enough more insane than firing a photon torpedo into the sun and making it go supernova. For me, it's oddly insane because the mathematical concept behind applying additional mass to an already supermassive object versus funneling mass, maintaining that mass in an already certain set of mass, then redistributing that energy, to me, is insane.
Okay, Neil deGrasse Tyson. but speaking of which, it's funny since you were talking about that. Just recently on Twitter, Neil deGrasse Tyson went ham on the new Star Wars movie. He was going off about just all the inconsistencies. That guy is a sci-fi troll. He's an official science troll. Just in any movie, he would just go off about all inconsistencies. And one thing he said that I thought was amazing was that this whole event that happened was amazing. He says, if BB-8 was real, then he wouldn't be able to roll on the sand like that. He'd be skidding all over the place. And the actual Twitter account for Star Wars replied and posted a bunch of YouTube clips showing him, no, BB-8 is an actual robot that we actually had puppeteers working on, and he was actually in the desert, and like Neil deGrasse Tyson had to fall the fuck back. He was like, wow, I guess I was wrong. I was like, take that, Star Wars with the clap back, like Star Wars clapping back. Star Wars is like, you can say whatever the fuck you want, but there will be no BB-8 slander. We are not allowing that. We're not taking it. We're not having it. Like, I just thought it was funny how all this shit taught Neil deGrasse. I'm talking like almost 100 tweets he was going down, and then Star Wars clapped back just at the BB-8 slander. He was like, nah. They're like, nah, cut that. That's our milk and bread. That's our bread and butter right there. BB-8 everywhere. Damn. I'm mad. He replaced R2D2. I'm like, to me, I always R2.
He didn't replace R2D2.
No, he didn't.
R2 showed up.
He didn't.
What was in the movie?
Peep game. He didn't, but he did. No one cares about R2 anymore. Let's be honest here.
That's true.
Nobody cares. That's true. And R2 was the original. And I'm like, no, R2's still there. But then when I see BB-8 roll, I'm just like, look at it go. I'm just like, look at it. Like, it's amazing.
It's a cute little device. And it's funny you bring up Neil deGrasse Tyson, because here's how much of a nerd I am.
Okay.
I wrote a thesis for the application of gravity based on the current discovery of black holes.
What the fuck?
And I sent it to Neil deGrasse Tyson. It garnered a response.
Wow.
Based on the idea of, I can't find holes in your base argument. If you put the math in place to support your argument, I believe that you could be right. You could close the standard model of particle physics. But I garnered a legitimate response.
That's why I like Neil deGrasse Tyson. Neil deGrasse Tyson is proof that if you are that big of a nerd about something, excuse me, people will fuck with you. If you're that hardcore about it.
Yep.
Like Neil deGrasse Tyson is like obsessed with this shit. Like, it's insane. Like, his knowledge, it's crazy. And like, it just goes to show that if you're a nerd or a geek and you're into something that much, people will fuck with you simply because of that. There's a motherfucker out there that can tell you every single Pokemon, what it evolves into.
My niece. She knows them all.
It's probably a kid. It probably is a kid out there somewhere. Yep. And if they go on Twitter and just talk about the science and how to breed and all that, motherfuckers will follow that. They'll just be like, yo, this is dude on Twitter or a girl on Twitter who just knows all that
all
shit.
About it. Has broken it down. Will tell you how to breed them in real life and everything like that.
Seriously.
What they would actually eat.
No, seriously. Like,
science behind why you would need 10 times bigger balls to catch all these Pokemon.
Seriously. Speaking of which, Pokemon Go about to come out. It's going to be on.
And Pokken Tournament, which is also awesome. You ever heard of Pokken Tournament?
Ain't that the one that was like in Japanese arcades?
Yes, it was the
one. It was called something else, wasn't it? In Japan. I mean, is it coming over here now?
It is coming over here. From what I hear right now is first quarter 2016. So sometime between now and March, we're going to see some battle arena style, old school Pokemon Stadium seeming, but more live action, next gen graphics, Pokemon battle.
And I heard it took over Japan. Like, that's all they play. You go to the arcades in Japan, which if you haven't done so, if you like a video game nerd, you have to do this before you die. You have to go to Japan, and you have to go to an arcade.
Any island in Japan. I personally myself, I've been to Osaka and Okinawa.
Okay.
And I've been in arcades.
Okay.
And it is, I didn't know they made arcades in multiple stories and had whole giant businesses the size of office buildings.
Japan
just
don't
arcades,
play.
yo.
Japan don't play. Arcades. I've seen when I went to Tokyo, and it's crazy being a black man in Tokyo because you can tell Japanese people don't get black people a lot. Because it's crazy but kind of racist at the same time, because it was like they just assumed I was some kind of superstar. Like, I'm just walking the streets of Tokyo, minding my own business, and like Japanese dudes walk up to me with cameras like this, like, and I'm like, oh, you want to take a picture with me? And like, I just go and take a picture with them. I'm just like, just cheesing for them. I'm on the mantle. They probably think I'm a football player. They think I'm a rapper.
Nah,
know what? Fuck,
that's task one for future podcasts.
There we go.
Get money for later. See, 2018, he charges lots of cash.
See, that's okay. But speaking of also with the Orient, I mean, Star Wars is really big in Korea. I didn't know this. That Star Wars is like probably bigger in Korea than he is in America. Like they want to build like the Star Wars land just for Korea. I didn't know this. Like I mean, if you Google it, there are Vader cell phone commercials that are in Korean.
Really?
Yes, there are Vader cell phone commercials that are in Korean because in Korea, Darth Vader, that shit is like as big as Mickey Mouse. How Disney is here.
Interesting.
Yeah, like it's crazy. I mean, that's one of the main reasons why it's only been a week and it's already made like well over almost $1 billion. I think like
in just theaters, I think they're at a little over 800 billion. And
800 billion.
Or I mean, 800 million.
Got you.
800 million.
I was gonna say, holy shit.
Yeah, 800 billion. You know, setting new records. But in media, like I don't even think they've counted in toys and comics and just really fleshed it all out. Because I'm sure they've already made their money back and more. I think they're in a profiteering stage.
And it's only been a week.
$4 billion that they've released. And you're talking about, like I said, that's just a week for the movie.
Yeah.
You're not talking about they've released. I mean, these comics have been coming out for over a year now.
Yeah.
They've been out for over a year because I think most of them are in issue 14 for the main line, right?
Mm-hmm,
roughly.
yeah.
So yeah, there's issue 10 up here. They've got that. They've got the cartoons that are out. Then, of course, the digitally remastered THX Dolby Surround Sound Hyper Edition of the original movies now on Blu-ray.
Right.
They have those movies came out like Street Fighter games. It'd be like Super Street Fighter Turbo 2X Championship Pandemonium.
Oh God, the new edition
2012. Like I remember they kept coming out with one. Like every year you'd be like, oh look, it's a new Star Wars. No, it's the same Star Wars, but now we've added Jabba the Hutt to 2 cents.
It's crazy. I was just looking up something real quick. Yeah, it's already reached over $1 billion worldwide.
For the movie?
Nice. Disney has made, and this is just ticket sales. With ticket sales alone, Disney has done $2 billion this year. That's fucking nuts. Because you also got to include Age of Ultron, and you also got to include Inside Out. And they said 3 of the top 4 movies of this year were Disney movies. Highest grossing movies.
Is there any way we can vote Disney for president? Because they know how to make money.
They don't want to run the country. They just want the money. They don't want to run it.
Never know. They can make political cartoons. Who knows?
I just hate that Age of Ultron and Inside Out are just 3 and 4. And Jurassic World really did that good.
Jurassic World, and here's one of the reasons why I dig that.
Uh-oh.
It wasn't as crappy as 2 and 3. And
but that's not saying much.
Well, look at this. When you got let's say Batman, for example. Batman had a pretty good first movie. With I'm not talking about we're not going back into the 60s and shit like that.
Yeah.
Talking about Michael Keaton, Batman, good. Keaton, Nicholson, good. Batman 2. Him and DeVito, not too bad. Still pretty deep. I mean, it wasn't a terrible movie until you got to 3 and 4, and you're like, okay, these are the most horrific movies ever. So when Batman got the reboot, not a lot of people went and saw the first movie. But people
that's true. It didn't do that well. I'm gonna say something that's a fact, and you can look this up. And you want to piss off some Batman fans real quick? Let's piss off some Batman fans.
Let's open them up.
Ant-Man did better money wise than Batman Begins. Fact. Look it up.
Oh, Paul,
look it up. Look it up. Damn. So I don't want to hear no one talking shit about Ant-Man. And all I got to do is say Ant-Man's so better than Batman Begins, and then drink some water, or whatever.
Damn.
Did you hear that? Do you hear that? That's the sound of 1 million Batman fans screaming in anger. These Batman stans, fuck y'all.
Hey,
I'm a Batman fan, but let me tell you something. There are other characters out there. Okay? And Ant-Man stunning on y'all. Batman Begins. No, he didn't do better than the second or third one, but it doesn't matter. Damn. This is Ant-Man.
He told you. I mean, you can't deny ticket sales. You just can't deny ticket sales. That's what it is. I don't care what you got in your tool belt. You ain't getting it out. But Batman is that example of what happens when you do reboot that franchise. When you have a couple really, really shitty movies, and then you come back and you make that, you make that better movie. You give it that love. And I think that, that's one of the reasons why Jurassic Park did so well. And that's one of the reasons I think Episode 7 did so well as well. Is because when you don't have the same pressure as well as a director of a really good movie ahead of you, you're less likely to make mistakes. You have that freedom to come out there and be like, okay, well, you know what? Let me try my twist on it. Okay. Because when you go back and look at episodes 1, 2, and 3 of Star Wars, it's not a happy feeling. You can pick and pull out parts of those movies that were good, but for the overall story arc, and we can get into the movies a little more in detail in a little bit, but for the overarching story arc, the movie sucked.
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to say this, and people might get mad at me for this. Episodes 1 through 3, to me, were not bad films. They were shitty Star Wars movies. As in, if you took away... It didn't feel... Like, let's be honest here. We watched episode 1 through 3. It didn't feel like a Star Wars film at all. I didn't feel like it was a Star Wars film. So that's what I say. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, if they would have just took out anything that was close to Star Wars, like took out the Jedis, took out the lightsabers, took out any familiar characters and did its own thing, they were decent movies. But the problem was, that's just my opinion. I still think they're shit. I still think they're horrible. There was horrible acting.
Okay, see, and that's where I can't agree that it's a decent movie. Because the acting was so poor, especially once you got... And it's harder to say about episode 1. Like, I personally feel, out of the 3, scenes aside, episode 1 was the best overall movie.
Bullshit!
And
over 3?
The only reason I say over 3 is, over 3, I only like the action sequences. And that had nothing to do... that had nothing to do with that. For example, Little Kid was 10 times better than Hayden Christensen. I felt when they put Hayden Christensen in those movies, they ruined any hope they had for having one good movie.
But here's the problem.
A terrible actor.
But so was Mark Hamill. So was Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill was a shitty actor.
Mark Hamill at least had a decent movie behind it. But like you said, and I'm not even going to hammer on the point.
Okay.
They weren't Star Wars movies. So I'm hammering on the point of as a regular movie.
As a regular movie.
Hayden Christensen was a terrible casting for those movies. He was an emotional crybaby. He was a little bitch. Just straight up, he was a little bitch through every movie. Every time I saw the kid get on scene, I want to punch him in the face. Darth Vader, Force powers not. I'm like, look, somebody needs to beat the shit out of this little kid, teach him a quick lesson, and maybe he won't walk around crying all the time. From there, I never felt like Palpatine was menacing enough. You know, I mean, even though hey, look, if you're just a senator, you're great. But I never felt like when he went to the other side, he was menacing. Like, this is not a guy I would follow or listen to. You're like a creepy uncle. You're going to probably diddle me before you teach me anything about resurrecting or, saving my woman or preventing anybody from death. You look like a pedophile versus, some Jedi Sith master. So that was poorly cast. Ooh. And then the overall flow of the movies, like the build-up was shitty. The climax of it, up until the point where you had the Obi-Wan versus Anakin fight, which was the saving grace of all 3 movies. That was the only decent part.
That was a decent fight, but there were just scenes in there and the lines from Hayden Christensen, just, you underestimate my power. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, but you got to remember,
the fact that he
was already terrible.
And the fact that he lit on fire, he lit on fire for no reason. Like, it just didn't make sense to me. Like, I love the third movie. I don't know, I'm kind of contradicting myself. I love the third movie, but there were scenes in it that I was just like, this is bullshit. Like, but that was just the prequels in a whole, which is one of the main reasons why I loved the new movie. And I think J.J. Abrams did a really good job in satisfying the new people who worship the prequels and the people who've been around forever. They had scenes for everybody. Yeah, they had something for everybody.
Right.
You saw the new one, right?
Yeah, I saw the new one. I enjoyed the new movie. A lot.
Why am I'm getting roasted in the comments here? That's all right.
Too, man.
I'm getting roasted in the comments. That's all right.
That's how you know. That's how you know you're making it. I always say
mean,
when you get trolls, when you get people who go out of their way to spend their time to come by.
Hey man, how I look? Don't watch me. Watch TV.
He said, "Don't watch me. Watch.
Don't watch me. Watch me TV.
Keep coming by.
Yeah, no.
Too.
Yeah,
tell them all to come by.
Yeah, no, roast. No, that's what I mean. Like
donate towards my lip production.
Yeah. We appreciate.
If I get a lip production, you know what I'm saying. I want my fat lips no more. But if you pay for it, I
don't know. My lady likes my fat lips, so fuck y'all niggas. Fuck you virgin motherfuckers at home watching.
I ain't gonna use the money to get a lips either.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Fuck it.
But if you want to donate that money,
by all means, holler at us, man. I'll send you my PayPal. Real talk. Like we can work something out. You know what I'm saying? But that's funny that you said that. Like I had a friend recently who put out a rap song and people were roasting him on it. And he was like, no, man, people roasted me on it. I told him some advice that I'm giving myself now. He said, be more concerned when people aren't saying anything. I would be more concerned with no one saying nothing.
Very true. Very true.
I would rather you just say shit about me than say nothing at all.
Yeah, exactly. Because
that's worse.
Because all publicity is good publicity. Look at my boy Trump. Trump out there.
Trump is the definition of that, though.
Fuck Muslims. Fuck Mexicans. Vote for me.
No, but seriously, what he is doing, what Trump is doing, we're getting way off subject. I don't care. What Trump is doing, Trump is just straight up. I'm just gonna say what's popular, no matter how horrible I sound. If that's what's popular, I'm just gonna say that. Like, yeah, we should give it to all Muslims. What the fuck? Like, he fucked himself on that one. Like, even the Republicans are like, yeah, we can't fuck with this guy. Like, he fucked himself with
that. Scrap that.
Yeah.
But I think what he's doing. No, I can't.
That's another podcast. That's a politics podcast.
All right. Well, let's go into one of the books that I kind of like. I liked, even though it was only a little 5-episode run. Mm-hmm. But we got to give it to anybody who's black in comics, because I'm black. You got to give it love. But yeah, my boy Lando Calrissian had a cool, smooth ass Billy D. Williams like 5-issue run, and from I think the beginning to the end, it felt like Lando. Lando that I would have wanted to see.
Exactly.
Where, it wasn't, okay, we're going to change him to be this swashbuckling smuggler thief, make him more Han Solo-esque. Like, nah. Dude don't like to pick up a gun. Dude don't like to hurt nobody.
Exactly.
My boy was smooth as silk. The writing was on point as a result of it. I mean, the art style... I kind of like the main Star Wars book kind of art style a little bit more, but I didn't mind it at all. It didn't feel like it was. It didn't feel cheap. It felt nice.
Well, it was drawn by Alex Maleev, and Alex Maleev has been popular. He did the Alias series that Jessica Jones. He's not big on action scenes. That's his big weakness. So when they chose Alex Maleev for this, I was just like, oh shit, like I don't know how this is gonna look. But I think that he did decent for what he was given. Charles Soule, who wrote it, who was he's an actual accomplished past the bar lawyer. Okay. Which is perfect with that he's writing Daredevil right now. Yeah, he wrote it. He's also a huge nerd. And he wrote the book, and but he does a lot of talking.
Yeah, well, see, that makes a lot of sense.
But it makes sense for a Lando book.
I think both the artist and writer there are great choices for the character that he was, because he was, first of all, he's a talker. He's a negotiator.
Yeah, exactly.
He's somebody who you're not walking into a room and you're not holding him up without him having a word out of his mouth before your gun's even drawn.
Right.
And exactly. that word is it's calming. It's direct. It's, it puts him in a situation where, I'm on the defensive here, guy. I'm not offending you. I'm not coming at you.
Exactly.
And I think that the book came off with that smooth Billy D. Williams approach.
Well, you can tell he watched a lot of Star Wars. You can tell that he did some research and helped put that out. I like to call Lando Calrissian the only nigga in the galaxy. That's my nickname for him, is that I am the only nigga in the galaxy.
Yeah.
It goes to my saying I have with Hollywood. I call it the one nigga quota. We can only have one. That's it. And that's your one. So when black people complain, hey, what's going on? Well, there's your one. There's Mace Windu. There's your one.
You know,
and then the other Star Wars movie, there's Lando. There's
funny,
your one.
It's funny you brought up
the one nigga quota. Hashtag.
Dude with this purple lightsaber. Because he just said, you know, if on racist with Star Wars was Mace having a purple lightsaber, it's like, you know why they gave Mace a purple lightsaber too? They was like, we can't digitally affect a black lightsaber. And you know how hard they had to resist having Samuel L. Jackson go, motherfucker.
You know he probably did it a few times. This is something that's actual fact though. Mace Windu or Samuel L. Jackson, he requested a purple lightsaber. They said that we want you in this movie. He said, I want my own lightsaber. I want it to be my own color. And it was purple. And he was like, all right, we're purple. I want to be the only one with a purple lightsaber. You notice? Because each color of lightsaber has a meaning, except for the purple one. That one doesn't have a meaning at all. There's no explanation to it. Other than it's basically
one black.
Hashtag one nigga quota.
Yeah, one nigga quota. You only have one black Jedi in your whole motherfucking universe. Yes. If you ever have another Negro pick up
in the galaxy
lightsaber, you know what will happen? He will get fucked up. Alright? And if you've seen episode 7, you know what the fuck I'm talking about, alright?
Motherfucker wasn't even. Hold on. Are we gonna hop into that now?
We gonna hold off? We almost there. We're almost there. Okay.
I'll
wrap up.
I'll hold off.
Lando's a good book.
Yes.
Go read Lando.
It's good.
My man, like I said, it's smooth. It's a solid little short story.
Yes.
5 issues. You get some cool characters in it. It's a good little book to pick up alongside the other.
I love it. I like all the Star Wars books that Marvel has put out except for canon. Yeah. Which they just announced that is now ending at issue 12. You could tell that one didn't do as well. Like Marvel, sorry Marvel, you know, Star Wars fans, they're not that hardcore. They're not just gonna pick up everything.
Very true, very true. And like I said, he didn't have a short run. And like that, he's going to have even a shorter conversation. So, on to Vader.
Moving on.
That's how we're going to do for that one. I was a big fan. But Vader, on the other hand, the Vader book, even though this wonderful stream stopped for a second.
Uh-oh.
My bad. You can probably hear it. There we go. All right. So, the Vader book actually does something I think that a lot of people have wanted to see with Vader. And that's show the time that he was in power as Vader.
Well, exactly. Because I think one thing that it's not the movie's fault because they didn't know how big the Star Wars shit was going to be. Like, they're just making a movie. You know what I'm saying? Right. They didn't understand how big this was going to be. One thing I like about the Vader book is that you see why he's feared. Like, you know, they talk about him so much throughout the movies. The Vader book shows you this is why I'm unfuckwittable. This is why I'm the dude. I'm a Vader enthusiast. Vader's that nigga. I'm sorry. Vader is that dude to me. I'm a big Vader dude. Like, I've been a Vader fan forever. So, I'm all for it.
Yeah, and I don't think, like you're saying, that lack of attention to Vader and the change in, I'd probably say I'd almost say the comic book and movie world when it comes to superpowered beings, the change into wanting that bad guy to win, the change into caring more about that bad guy, being able to write that bad guy as a main protagonist in a storyline, just much like how when we talk Batman Dark Knight, you know, the movie was so good because it was Joker.
Well, yeah.
You know, it was watching Joker's storyline, much like they've done in the books. And I think across media, people are starting to see that the villain story, not the sad villain story, but the villain becoming the villain, rising to power, is just as interesting as a story.
Well, yeah,
so
agreed.
With watching Vader and knowing that, you know, being somebody a fan of the extended Star Wars universe and knowing that the Sith apprentice always pushes to betray the Sith Lord. You know what I mean? That's a constant with every Sith.
Well, yeah.
It's a constant desire to take that power, to take that place. Because
that's what happened with Palpatine. I was just watching the prequels recently. I forgot his name, but they were talking about Palpatine's his Sith Lord and how he took over from him. So I didn't even think about that till you just said that. I'm like, yeah, it is like a power struggle. Like they're supposed to like assert the owner. I mean, the original. Yeah, that's crazy.
Because one of the big things about the Sith and the reason why the Sith became what it was, and if I recall in the extended content, the Sith was the name of the first practitioners of the Force, and a split that arose later due to that increase, that hunger for power, that desire for more is what led the separation of the Sith and Jedi.
Exactly.
So from there, what you constantly have is, and this is why there's always two within the Sith, is you have one person who's pushing for power that needs an extra tool, and then you have another person who is pushing to be more powerful than the person teaching them.
Exactly.
Which, like you said, always leads to that chaos, always leads to, that dysfunction. And then I think they've done a good job in the Vader books of including some more interesting characters that if you watch the prequels, you'd have a belief that Vader would be interested in. For example, the droids.
Yes.
Anakin was always attached to droids.
Yes.
You know what I mean? From a little kid on up. So him having 666 and what is it, like B3 or something of that nature?
666 and B3, yeah.
Yeah, 666 and B3 I think is it's a good reflection of the level of darkness that he's obtained.
You're right.
And how he's applied that to everything around him.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I mean, it's funny that you mentioned that he has this connection to droids because, if you read the book, he has those two droids that are with him. And I'm just looking forward to, I forgot his name. I'm looking it up right now. What's the assassin droid name? It's like IG something.
The assassin droid?
Yeah.
Oh, like IG-90 or something.
It's like
IG
something. See, yeah, IG-86.
IG-86.
There's IG-76 and IG-88.
He's got like that's the popular one. Kind of looking head.
Yeah. Like, I'm looking forward to them because they're saying that he's showing up in the book. And
he's been featured already. I've seen him. He walked into a bar once.
Oh, he walked.
Yeah, he walked into a bar and they said, "We don't serve your kind here." He had words.
He had words with him. That's what's up. I love the Yoda. I mean, not the Yoda book, even though I heard they're eventually going to do that. But I love the Vader book. Also because I'm a Dr. Doom fan, and people don't even know Darth Vader was heavily influenced by Doom because Doom is that
Very
nigga.
True. Very true.
Doom is that dude. I think that's IG-88 right there in the picture.
It is.
Is that IG-88? Okay.
That is him.
Okay. I've always wanted to learn more about him. I mean, about that because I don't think he showed up in any of the movies. He's one of those characters that just got really popular just in the canon of the stories that people wrote, like the books that people wrote, and then he just kind of blew up into his own thing, which is also another good thing I like that Marvel is doing, is that they're not completely ignoring the books. They're just taking ideas from it and just making it their own, which I actually enjoy more because the reason why they created characters like IG-88 is because they couldn't touch the canon. They had to stay as far away from the canon as they could. They're like, you can create anything in this world, you just can't touch the canon. But now that Marvel and Disney are all one and they have the rights to all these characters, they can start doing it now.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, filling those gaps is good for the reader. It's good for those people who, like you're saying, who is this? Why would I talk to 10 Star Wars fans? And I've only seen the movies, and each of them are talking about characters I've never met. You know what I mean? So bringing them over is probably the best thing this book has done.
Shout out to Dead Kev though. He just said Dr. Doom foot dive. We got a Marvel vs. Capcom play.
Yep. Matter of fact, Marvel vs. Capcom is one of these games that this man ever wants to get in on. I can teach him a thing or two about
this fucking guy over here, man.
Heck yeah, dude. I used to run Marvel streams. I body people.
We should do that for an episode of just us playing against each other, and people can watch me whoop that ass.
We can do that. I'll 10-0, undefeated. Matter of fact, I'll let him pick my characters.
Well, if Cam Newton today has taught us anything,
Smash Bros. Or Marvel, We could even get some Street Fighter in there.
I was gonna say, let's get some Street Fighter. Okay, let's get some Mortal Kombat in there.
We get some Mortal Kombat too. We'll stream this. We will do this sometime in this next year. Because I want to give the man time to practice. I don't want to just free him up. He caught me on the spot, or you didn't have my controller, or whatever it was. We gonna do some Mortal
I'm looking
Kombat.
forward to this. No, I'm glad you're doing this because now you're giving me purpose. You're giving me purpose. Come in here and tap that ass and just whoop that ass in this. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. No, this is great.
You know, like I said, whenever you are ready, Padawan. All right,
Padawan.
All right,
I got your Padawan, midichlorian. I got your Padawan. Right. There won't be too many more Padawans when this. There won't be
more Padawans. We'll see your force powers, all right. But you know, I got a meeting with the rest of the Jedi Council, closed doors, masters only type shit.
Fuck out of here! You guys all die. All you Jedi's die. So.
He said, "All you Jedi's die." I'm weak. But yeah, Vader also a good book, still ongoing right now. They're doing a kind of story arc for him, Vader Down.
Yes, Vader Down. Which is them combining the two books. That's the whole point of it. It's just to combine two books, which is great. Because if you read the regular Star Wars book, you just read the Darth Vader book as well.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, Darth Vader to me stands well on his own because it's a much more violent book.
Yes, it does.
And it's, you know, like my boy First Day goes out and slaughters all the sand people because, you know,
he's always had
that shit coming. You know,
he's always had beef.
They had that shit coming. Well, yeah, his mama.
I hate them. I killed the mothers, the children.
Yep, he's a big fan. Darth Vader's a big fan of killing children because Darth Vader's realize children become adults. Logic, you know what I'm saying? You can't go past that.
Like Vader has murked a lot of children.
Yeah,
like if you think about it,
he's a children.
He just killed a lot of children.
I mean, you know.
But hey, if you're gonna be a bad guy, be a bad guy.
Hey, you can take candy from the babies, or you can just slaughter them.
Oh, seriously?
My man chose slaughter. All right. So let's go from here. We'll talk first about we'll get into the movies here. Let's talk first about the past movies. Now, previously, let's start in order, just so I can get some happiness early. I don't want to go back to sadness. So let's start at episode 1, The Phantom Menace. We talked about this a little bit earlier. This movie is what I would call a 2.5-hour pod race setup.
It is.
The initial storyline, or the storyline for the movie, is essentially you get introduced to Obi-Wan Kenobi and his master Qui-Gon. And what they come across and what they feel the Force has led them to through different circumstances, working against the, you know, Empire. Was it still the Empire called the Empire at the time?
And I don't think they were the Empire yet,
because it was the Republic versus the Senate.
Yeah, it was Republic.
Anyway, basically, it's like I said, it's a 2.5-hour setup to a pod race. You find out, you meet Anakin for the first time, and you find out that Anakin was essentially like a Jesus Christ of the Force. And he was born to a mother who would not tell you who she slept with.
She's on that reason.
She's like, look.
Yeah, we don't know his father, do we?
You don't know his father. And this kind of goes to, in the external world of Star Wars, when you get outside the movie, this goes to two different sides of thought. My side of, the side of thought I share is the idea that the Force, as a known, what do I call it? I want to say a Force is the known force in the universe, but it sounds redundant. But the fact that we know the Force is tangible within the Star Wars universe gives light to the Force is almost like a benevolent entity. Right? That good or bad has its own direction. So the idea, if she was telling the truth, is that Anakin was born of the Force to balance the Force. And the reason I say that is that as you go through the storyline of what happens with Anakin, by the end of the prequels, there are 2 Jedi and 2 Sith.
2 Sith, yeah. That's exactly. I tell everyone that. He did exactly what he was supposed to do.
He was designed. Like, he was born into the Force only to bring balance to the Force.
And he did.
He was compelled no matter what, to explore or to ensure that happened. And then, of course, later on in episode 4, when Obi-Wan dies, now there's 2 because Luke and Yoda. But when it all breaks down, it's Obi-Wan and Yoda and Palpatine and Vader, right?
Right.
So the other idea is that the Skywalkers basically always end up somehow abandoning their fucking kids. And this was another Skywalker Jedi who just wasn't as famous, who abandoned his wife and his kid and went on to fight or whatever, possibly died, got his hand cut off for sure.
Lost a limb.
Yeah, lost a limb. I'm waiting for New Boy to get same thing done, but lose himself a limb or something, doesn't come back, and another bastard Star Wars kid out there fucking up shit. But the story was to introduce you to Anakin and show you the first sad, epic crybaby journey of this crappy little kid and how good he was at flying for no reason. Because apparently in the Skywalker line, being a pilot is something very natural to you guys.
Well, one thing that I hated that episode 1 did that completely fucked it up was that Obi-Wan told Luke that when I met your father, he was the galaxy's greatest starfighter. But this movie completely fucked that up and said, no, when I met your father, he was a little kid, he was a fucking pod racer.
So true. I don't understand that either. Like, you don't even there's no reference from that.
There's nothing from that. That was George Lucas just saying, you know what? Fuck all this shit. It was like George Lucas was just trying to screw up his own canon. And I've always said, Star Wars fans are always hard on George Lucas. And people are like, why Star Wars fans like that? I'm like, because he tried to destroy his own shit. I've never seen a creator try to destroy his own shit. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
It's hard, I think, to have a series that's as popular as Star Wars without being able to pay that level of attention to detail. You almost have to be a super fan yourself in order to write the episodes, because it's a detail, but to a fan it's a minor detail, but to a fan it's a huge detail.
I mean, especially considering the fact it's from the guy who created it.
Yeah,
that's another thing. I was kind of just like, wait, what? What?
Well, but at the same time, Obi-Wan wasn't saying, well, yeah. I mean, he was bullshitting Luke to a degree, because he wasn't saying, well, your dad's over 6 rooms down, homie. I can tell your dad right now. He's coming. You could probably, yeah, that's your dad. That's not a vent. I can hear from the breathing. You think that's an air vent? No, these condensers are good. That's your daddy. He's coming down the hallway, all right? With his big old magnetic boots and. Yeah, no, man, that's too much.
I mean, let's be honest. Episode 1 was aimed for children. And basically they were just like, we trying to get these toys off. We just trying to sell these toys. And that's what they did. I mean, to me, it just seems like the episode, especially 1, but not just 1, but 2 and also 3, were just trying to sell merchandise. I mean, I remember when episode 1 came out, and on the N64 there was that pod racing game.
Yes.
And I'm mad because I fucking love that game.
Dude, I played the shit out of that racing game.
The N64 pod racing game.
Hell out of that game.
I bought an N64 just to play that game.
Okay,
not gonna lie.
I can't say that. I had an N64 already. There was other games on that shit, dude. I bought that shit for Mario 64. That game looked dope as hell. What can I say? I'm a Mario fan.
Can we just say real quick that the N64 does not get the respect that it deserves?
Does it deserve respect?
Absolutely. N64 changed the game.
It didn't change the game.
That's bullshit.
PlayStation came out around the same time, and it changed the game.
Ocarina of Time.
The last... No.
GoldenEye, nigga.
GoldenEye, I'll give you.
Ocarina of Time.
I'll give you GoldenEye. Ocarina of Time, Link was already in place. Don't get me wrong. They changed up the entire platform and made it really, really good.
You bullshit. You bullshitting right now.
But I don't know. It feels like the formula's changed since then. Where the formulas that PlayStation introduced, who was released at the same time, are still in place today. their RPG feel, the 3D RPG setup that they've put in is still like in place today.
Are you talking about
all like the Final Fantasy, like all the RPGs that came out for PlayStation? They introduced a lot of the 3D RPGs.
Hold on.
No, wrong. Oricon of Time was a great game, but the problem with a lot of Nintendo 64 games and a lot of Nintendo games overall is that they just do like that great game. Now, Majora's Mask was good as well, but it was basically the same game, just an add-on. Like, they didn't have a ton of titles for that system.
But that's the same problem. First of all, I'm shocked that you're saying this, because if it wasn't for N64, you wouldn't have your precious little Smash Brothers. That's number one. Number two,
they did that good, but Melee was like a whole nother level.
But number two, your whole complaint about Nintendo, that's always been Nintendo's problem. Nintendo is the only company in existence that can put out 100 of the worst games you've ever seen in your life, you've ever played. You're like, what the fuck is this? And then they'll put out one game that'll put them right back on top. Whether it's a new Zelda, whether it's a new Smash Brothers. I mean, how old is the new Smash Brothers game? And they're still adding characters.
A year.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, it's a year old and they're still adding characters.
Dude, Street Fighter adds characters for like 6 years to one game and then changes the title.
That's not true.
That's very true.
You take that back.
Very true.
Street Fighter 5 is gonna be the fucking shit. Street Fighter 5 is gonna be amazing.
They're still adding a character to Street Fighter 5 right now with planned DLC. What are you talking about?
They are still like
that game will come out and not be done. I guarantee you by 20. Okay, it's coming out next year. I guarantee you by the end of 2017, Super Street Fighter 5 will be out.
Well, they're gonna do that.
And by the end of the next year, Ultra Super Street Fighter 5 Championship Edition will be out.
But Nintendo as a company, Nintendo as a whole company, that's what they do. Yeah. They'll do a new Mario Party.
So based on what you're saying, and this is why I don't respect the system.
Okay.
Because I can respect the game, individual game, but if you have one game and then you have another 100 titles that are shit, how do I respect your system?
Because those games games that came out for it. Hold on. Because the games that came out for it were that good. Star Fox 64, nigga, I still play that shit. I still play Star Fox 64. Nigga, if I was at a nigga house just chilling, just hanging out, and the nigga said, yo, you want to play some GoldenEye, nigga? Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't get me wrong. But like I said, it's a handful of games. You can't pick up. But nobody was picking up the system and being like, man, at least once a month, I'm getting a decent game. With, like I said, with the 64, over the lifetime, you got like 4 games.
Hold on. I can do more than 4. Okay, we're gonna do Super Mario 64.
Okay.
We're gonna do GoldenEye.
You can do more. I can do more than 4.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, you can do more than 4. Come on, give me more.
How many games are on N64?
Huh?
How many games are on N64?
Oh, hundreds. But that's not the point.
And you can't even. I bet you couldn't do 10.
Hold on, nigga. That's a challenge. All right. Okay. No. I can do this easily. Watch this. Mario 64. Mario Party. Yeah. Okay. Those games sell. Any one of them. They all sell. Any one of them. They all sell.
I'm gonna let you slide.
Okay. Right. Mario 60. Okay. Mario Party. Mario Kart.
Okay.
Gotta keep going. Pokemon Snap, nigga.
Snap.
Pokemon Snap. That game did hella good.
I think didn't Pokemon Stadium do better than Snap in the first place?
Okay, well, Pokemon. Okay,
see,
I'm
giving them to you. All right.
Okay, Pokemon. All right. Okay, nigga, haven't you said GoldenEye? Okay. Star Fox 64.
Okay,
this is getting harder. Killer Instinct Gold.
That wasn't all that. Killer Instinct Gold was as good as the first.
Yeah, it wasn't as good.
It wasn't all that great,
but it was still a good one. Where am I at? 6.
Okay.
All right.
Maybe 6. Okay.
Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Banjo-Kazooie.
Basically, Super Mario 64 with a new skin.
Rare did both games so they can get away with it.
Okay.
Banjo-Kazooie, Ocarina of Time. God, I know I'm missing one. Perfect Dark. Oh my God, I need one more. Somebody help me out. I know I could do one more.
You don't get no help.
I know I could do one more. Hold up.
9.
Hold up.
This is out of hundreds, by the way. And we're justifying an entire system.
Hold up.
By these like 5, 9
those 9 games.
They're epic. But this is what I'm saying. It's an epic games, but not an epic system. Matter of fact, I had this extra controller that wasn't the default Super Nintendo controller. It was like a regular controller with 6 buttons across. Mm-hmm. You know, it felt like a 6-button regular controller. Mm-hmm. I love that controller over the regular standard shitty ass N64 controller.
Oh, the controller was shit. But I got it, nigga. WCW versus NWO. Shut up. WCW versus NWO.
Okay,
shut the fuck up.
I can't say anything off that one. That's legit. That's legit. I was hoping, because I was thinking you were going to go WrestleMania 2000.
Oh, no. But WCW versus NWO.
Actually, WCW versus NWO. WCW versus NWO Revenge.
Yes.
WrestleMania 2000 and No Mercy were all just great. The only good wrestling games ever grace console. Because I hated the SmackDown series.
Oh,
that is one thing I could say was good.
Yeah.
Like, people who play SmackDown, I was like, what's wrong with you, man? You got friends? Nobody like you or something?
That's fucked up. WCW, the THQ, shout out to THQ for making those games. That shit like defied my childhood. The hours I put into that fucking game is ridiculous.
Yes, we used to actually run our N64. We took over my homeboy's house. We used to run it through a VCR and then record all of our matches to tape from GoldenEye and all the wrestling games. So, because you get certain moves where it's like, dude, you just stuttered somebody. They'd have the blood come up, and when they get the blood come up, they get up woozy. Like,
you get up woozy.
They fall out. You be like, I ain't even gonna pin you. I'm just gonna wait around every single time to keep K'ing you.
That's great. But another thing I loved about the N64 is that we are in an age where our video game systems are too powerful. They fucking break down for no reason. You don't understand. I've never had a problem with my N64. I dropped that shit down a flight of stairs.
Damn.
Cast spells on the motherfucker, basically.
Cast spells on that shit.
And the nigga still works. I put in that shit. The N64's logo would still come up. N64 does not get the respect it deserves. I'm sorry. Hands down. Other fun system.
Well, I can tell you, they have fun games.
Even the Star Wars game on it was
the controllers sucked.
Oh yeah,
the controllers were like terrible, shitty ass terrible. They had all these add-ons that never came out. You remember the N64 DD?
Yeah.
The N64 CD-ROM, the N64 everything. Like
they got rid of the N64 CD-ROM.
Yeah, they were like, look, we're thinking about putting out all these cool things for N64, but we're just gonna make games, which is great because the games that came out were great. Mm-hmm. But you could tell at the same time, sadly enough, that they were also kind of flukes because they never did any. Every GoldenEye or every Bond game after that has sucked horribly.
Oh well, yeah.
The Perfect Dark remake that they tried to put on 360.
Oh god,
sucked horribly.
I completely forgot about that. That you just said that.
The only series to survive out of their remakes and good things, I think, was Mario, right? Because let's think about the other games that you put out. All the wrestling games suck now. Yeah. Even THQ makes shitty wrestling games. They haven't.
Do they still make wrestling games? I thought EA bought them.
I don't know.
Okay.
Nobody. No, fuck. I hate EA. EA makes Battlefront, and don't get me wrong. I think that Battlefront was a cool game. I played the beta. I did not pick up the actual title.
I did.
Only because fuck EA. I hate EA as a company. I hate EA as a concept. I hate EA as a brand. I hate people working at EA.
Video game whores. Look here, man. If the game is fun, fucking play it. Stop having these personal beef with EA. I'm sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of telling people I play Battlefront and niggas is mad at me. Like, how the fuck is you mad at me? Okay, I like to play fun games.
Here's why. Did you ever used to play football games on console?
I still play them.
Okay. Did you ever play NFL 2K4 or 2K5?
2K5.
You played 2K5?
Yes.
Do you remember it well?
A little bit.
NBA 2K5 was the best football game ever released on console.
Okay.
Hands down.
Okay.
Do you remember the Chris Berman halftime show?
Yes.
Your stats would follow your actual creative player?
Yeah.
Madden, when NFL 2K5 came out, they said our game will shit on your game so hard that we will release it at $20 and we will still make more money than you. Okay, bring it. They outsold them. They generated more revenue. And here's what EA's response was. We're going to buy the NFL license.
I knew you were going to buy the NFL license.
We will not allow you to make more games because we do not believe in making a quality game. We do not believe in competition. So, here's what's funny. 989 Studios went, right after that was like, well, damn, while we making sports games, we're going to purchase the MLB license. And EA tried to take them to court saying, that's unruly, you're affecting our business. Like, are you serious? You just did this.
Look here,
you are the shitty. You are the epitome of why games. Any game that sucks, even if not by EA, I say is EA's fault.
Look here, man. Yeah. Dead Kev is right. Yeah, 2K. Yeah. Here's the deal. I'm gonna tell you the same reason why I told a friend of mine. I told a friend of mine recently I love Kobe. I still like Kobe. They're like, oh, you like that? That person that does that, he's an asshole. Look here, man. I don't care what that nigga does when he's off the court. Take them with EA Sports. I don't care about them taking other people. I mean, it sucks that they did that. I will agree that it sucks, but I'm not gonna not enjoy their games because of that.
But see, and here's where I have the problem is,
okay,
you did something that was on the court. It's not what you did off the court with EA. You took a game out of my hands. Like, I fell in love with this series. I was like, dude, you guys are doing something great. I'm falling in love with football all over again in the video game world. Me and my homeboy, we played seasons upon seasons. We got the NCAA. We were drafting people. We put in the hours. We'd play true, like, what's it called? We played true, 15-minute quarters. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We got into it. Yeah. And for them to go out and be like, look, we are not interested in making our shit any better, but because of our money, we will stop you from having a gaming experience. That's as good as taking, the first Doom out my fucking hands. And being like, well, we felt it was too violent, so we bought the rights to all violence. And
that's not the same thing.
We will not make anything violent ever again. You bought a whole franchise. You bought a whole line of sports games.
It's business. It's business. I can't, from a business standpoint.
That same business people cried when somebody did it to them.
I can't. That was a bitch move. Now that I'll admit, that was a bitch move.
If they wouldn't have done that, if they would have just sucked it up, I'd have been like, okay, I guess this is the way the game's going. But the fact they went to court and cried about it, like some little bitches, that's like somebody coming to your house, stealing your fucking remote, coming back and be like, oh shit, I forgot the batteries, homie. Can I get the batteries, man? Because I stole the remote, man. You don't need the batteries, dog.
It's business, man. It's business. I don't see the. I mean, there's a part of me from the fanboy standpoint that I could agree that was a bitch move, and I did love the 2K games. I really did. But but I don't know. I still enjoyed them. Like, I still like them. I'm not gonna let that stop me. I don't know. That's just me, though.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to. I want to like EA to a degree. And don't get me wrong. At some point when it goes on sale, I'll probably end up getting some Battlefront. Once the 90 packs of DLC are out, and I don't have to pay $120 for a $60 game.
Yeah, that's the one thing I can honestly say. All right, that was some bullshit. That's the only time I can say that was some fucking bullshit. That's the only time I can say that. I'll agree.
Yeah.
Can we get back to Star Wars? We got
we were way off. So okay, episode 1 sucks. Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. We don't have to get too much into it. Hayden Christensen basically ruins this entire movie. It's essentially like a daytime soap opera of Anakin Skywalker, who grows up to be Darth Vader, pouring out every bit of emotions he has. Like, if you're wondering why Vader's so hardcore later, it's because he was such a bitch in Attack of the Clones. So his bitch assness pours out of him throughout the film. He cries at least 30 times. He breaks out crying when there's nothing going on.
Is that the one where he says, I'm haunted by the kiss you shouldn't have given me?
Yes.
Is that the one where he says that? Yo, I almost walked out of the theater. I was like, man, I can't deal with this, man. Like,
I mean, it was bad. It's a horrible movie. It's a horrible movie. There's not a lot to say about that. There's nothing redeeming about that movie at any point. It's just terrible. So, anything to say about Attack of the Clones? I mean,
I will say that it was a step up from the Phantom Menace.
I didn't get as cool of a pod racing scene, and there was virtually no action.
So you mean to tell me? Okay, it wasn't. It was very political. Like, that was my biggest complaint about episode 1 through 3 was that it got too much into politics and shit, and nobody cares about politics when they watch a Star Wars film. No one cares about the Republic and the Senate and the blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares. But the scene at the end, when they introduced Jango Fett, the scene at the end, when Mace Windu decapitates Django and shit like that. Like, that was a cool scene. Like, that whole scene there was really cool.
It was so... It felt so short-lived. It felt like we made this really crappy movie, and we have to try to redeem ourselves in the last, 30 minutes. How are we going to do that? All right, let's start killing some people, because I think this person should die. I think this...
Well, Django had to go.
Django had to go, but it just felt... Okay, for somebody who you've essentially, cloned your entire army based off of, right, to fight these Jedi... One Jedi takes him out in a swing. I mean, come on, he didn't go down there, and it's not like he was tearing everybody up, and they had a battle, and he was. It was like, nah, he looked at you in the eye and said, "Run down, all right, yeah, you ain't shit." You know what I'm saying?
You talking about when Mace Windu took out Django?
Django, yeah,
this fight is over.
Yeah, it wasn't much of a scene. It was it was like Rocky versus Stephen Hawking. But why would this even happen?
If you notice. This is an ongoing thing, which I know we'll get into, is that Star Wars has a theme of introducing badass characters and have them not be much. First, we get Darth Maul, who they hyped it, and I don't know if our viewers are that old. I don't understand. I was in high school when they were showing all the stuff for episode 1. Yep. And Darth Maul was probably the most hyped thing about that whole movie. Was they hyped Darth Maul so much. And in the movie he didn't do shit. He died. He died so quickly and easily they had to bring him back in the cartoon. I don't know if you know that. In the Star Wars Clone Wars cartoon, they brought Darth Maul back.
For what?
Because so many people were mad that they hyped Darth Maul so much. Just for him to die so quickly. They made novels based on this guy. They made comic books based on this guy. And they brought him back in the Star Wars Clone Wars cartoon because so many people were like, dude, we need to see Darth Maul again.
See, I never knew that. I never knew that. I've always thought that, I don't know, I thought that Darth Maul was, he looked like an interesting character, but when they showed his face... I didn't have high hopes for him because it looks like you guys worked too hard on the design.
He looked badass.
I mean, he looked badass. That's what I'm saying. Most characters, when they look that badass, they don't have a lot to them. I find the more unsuspecting, Vader looked badass, but his design was still somewhat simplistic. He was just an all black helmet, cape, straight up. Where Darth Maul is dude, you got all these horn, you look like you're evil.
Well, that's his whole race. But that was cool though because he's a race. He's a Dathominian. I think that's what they're called. But yeah, he's an actual race.
And that to me is you look mean by default. You didn't badass. That's what I'm saying. You look mean by default. There's nothing that felt menacing about him. And maybe that's just the way that he came off in the film too.
I get what you're saying.
Because he never felt menacing to me. So when they killed him off, I felt like he was going to go pretty quickly. This character, they didn't build him up to be interesting.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point.
Outside of the media, the media, he was okay, but like I said, I felt he looked too evil. I never see a lot of the most evil looking characters. You have to have a menacing look. To me, Dr. Doom looks menacing.
Exactly.
His character looks terrifying.
Exactly.
Thanos looks terrifying. It's simplistic kind of garb. You're hey, look, a purple body. I can't finish that sentence. You look too menacing. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but in all honesty, Darth Maul, I think they went for that route because, no one wants to just straight up say it. Episode 1 was made for children. So when you make a movie like that is aimed for children,
Disney audition, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was, it was a Disney audition. And when you make characters like that, you gotta make the bad guy obvious. Right. You gotta make him look like that. And for the second movie, episode 2. Django was that guy, I just don't think that he lived up to his expectation. Django didn't live up to his expectation because this is the guy that Boba came from. And so it's okay, so he should be the most badass one. Right. And I didn't really get to see him do anything. I was and he got beat pretty quickly, but I think that was their way of saying how Mace is really that dude.
Yeah, but it's okay. Okay, we'll get let's bump into the next episode.
Okay.
Let's bump into the next episode. Okay. In my opinion, this was the only semi-redeeming movie.
Yes.
Of the 3, and that is Return of the Sith.
Yes.
And the action in this movie, like, it felt like a Star Wars movie to a degree. However, they had some things, like I said, and this is my number one problem with Hayden Christensen through the whole series. Okay. I thought even though he wasn't in episode 1, he ruined that movie too somehow. Yeah, but
not somehow. We know how.
In episode 3, we get the final we get the destruction of the Jedi.
Okay,
we get the end of the Jedi Order as not as a whole, but as a dominant force within the Republic. So, out of the thousands of Jedis across the one galaxy that apparently we live in, almost all of them were slain. As far as we're to believe, the only practicing Jedi that were still alive once this movie ended were Palpatine, Vader or Anakin Bitchwalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Yoda. So what ends up happening throughout the film is Anakin's sadness pours out over and over again into Palpatine's cup of happiness and allows him to bring him over the dark side. Now, throughout the movie, he makes a lot of points as to why you shouldn't be on the dark side. For example, how the dark side is supposedly more powerful, but Mace Windu was about to kill Palpatine until Anakin interfered, which would have, to any intelligent person, suggested, I'll probably stick with these Force guys who obviously don't need to double team you to be more powerful. But, you know, he made his decision either way. He's kind of stupid. So,
I mean, one thing I like about episode 3 was that it starts with Dooku dying. Like, that's how they kicked it off. Like, I was like, oh shit. Just to show how much powerful Anakin has gotten from the Clone Wars. That he's no longer this little bitch that you could just punk around. Like, he went and took him out pretty quickly. I mean, I don't know. I liked out of all the prequels, I liked episode 3. We had more lightsaber battles. We had more space battles. It summed up a lot of things, but I've just, as a loyal follower of Star Wars, pretty much my whole life, and as how much they keep saying how badass Jedis are, I'm just having trouble believing that they all just got shot by blasters. Like, literally, that's how, like, all of them died. Like, all of a sudden, they're being shot by blasters. I'm just like, I don't, okay, you're going to have to say something. Okay, because that's just my belief. I'm just like, I don't see that.
Yeah,
They're supposed to be Jedi Masters now.
I felt the same way. However, the only thing I can say is that with the whole Order 66, they did get caught off guard. So in a lot of cases, and this is the way you do military strategy, is one Jedi to like 20 to 50 stormtroopers. So the sheer rate of blaster fire, even though if you had 10 stormtroopers shooting at one thing, you probably wouldn't hit it. 50 stormtroopers, you'll eventually have too much blaster fire for you to be able to, fend off with the lightsaber. That's why, you do see retreat on from Jedi at different times. For example, in episode 1, when Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon are about to fight the droids that come up with the shields, and they run off, because, it's a fight that they can't necessarily fend off for long. You can fend off so much blaster fire, but I think in overabundant amounts, the idea is that Jedi aren't immortal. Jedi aren't undefeatable in that nature.
They can be beaten. I just don't. I wish
that
at the same time, different. I don't know.
At the same time, I would have figured that more Jedi would have survived.
Well, yeah, exactly. I just refuse to believe. That's what I'm saying. I refuse to believe. I'm not saying that it's impossible.
Right.
I'm just saying I refuse to believe that every single one of them were all just blasted to death.
Wait a minute. I forgot. It was the 3033 Jedi Super Picnic down on the Jedi. That's why they were all in one area, because they had a picnic going on, and all the Jedi were invited. Anakin probably set it up ahead of time, you know what I mean, to get all the Jedi in one place, So they are having a picnic because Jedi's like picnics.
Yeah. Do we know that? Is that a visual?
Yeah, Jedi like picnics. You remember Anakin? They had a whole hour-long scene with Anakin and Padme about how he was having so much fun on his picnic.
Oh,
my man was having
that whole scene
picnic.
popped in my head right when you said that. Right when you said that, that whole scene came to my head. Like, oh god,
best picnic ever, bro. Best picnic ever. Super picnic, if you will. This is the picnic of the Force.
The Force picnic.
What they did was they sent out little holocons of all the picnic stuff, and they said all the Jedi come down here. Then they gave Order 66, which is why it wasn't called. Only person out there was only people who weren't there were it's called Obi-Wan and apparently Kanan, who was apparently off world because he didn't get killed. Or he might have been on world. I don't know. I don't really follow the kid. Yeah. So super picnic, Force killer.
And Yoda wasn't there.
Yoda was wherever the Senate was, because remember he fought Palpatine.
Yes, this is true. Okay, you're right.
So wherever the Galactic Senate was, I don't think they were all on the same planet. Did they have the Senate on the same planet as where everybody on Jedi? I don't know where they held the picnic, but I'm assuming it's the same location.
Got you.
All right.
I mean, I just, and that was another scene. I didn't like how Palpatine just took out those Jedi so quickly. I don't like, because they just keep bringing up the Jedi or like the ultimate fight force, and they just got beat a little too quickly for me for them to be Jedi. I'm not saying that Palpatine should have lost. Even though, to me, kind of showed that thing. I felt like he should have. But I don't think he should have lost. I feel like the battle should have been better than that. Like, for him to just be like, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead. And then just killed, Mace. It was just, I don't know. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
That was just me.
Speaking of unbelievable things, here's one thing that even after watching the most recent film, I have a hard time with in Star Wars. And that's, why does it seem like there's so many people in the universe who, after the first set of Star Wars, when the majority of the Jedi died, how is it only like 40 years later up to the new movie and nobody believes in the Force anymore? Like, it's a thing. Like, it's like, oh, the Force. What do you mean? These guys are all legends. Like, dude, these people are still alive. I mean, like, this war wasn't that long ago.
And I'm hoping that they explain that, because I'm just kind of like, what has happened so that this is now like considered stuff of legend?
Yeah, because remember in episode 4, that's what Han Solo's big deal is. Yeah. The Force is all mumbo jumbo and everything. I imagine you're a smuggler. You're telling me that not only were you probably a kid when there was hundreds of, like 1,000 Jedi running around.
Right, exactly.
But one of the most evil dudes in the Empire who you steal shit from be choking people from across space. Like, you don't hear, like, you think this is rumor?
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, why is this considered, I mean, for fuck's sake, spoilers by the way, for fuck's sake, Rey is sleeping in the AT-AT. I'm like, you're sleeping in the part of something that was a part of the thing that you consider to be legend. I'm like, and there's like a big Star Destroyer in the background. I'm like, why do you need convincing? I'm like, what do you not get?
And this is an age of technology. You telling me there's not like one holo cube around with some Jedi footage? Dude, are Jedi's like vampires here? They don't show up on camera or something? Like,
seriously. But that's one thing I do.
You do not see me, camera.
Well, that's one thing I do like about Star Wars. It's the perfect balance between futuristic and medieval.
Right.
It's the perfect balance. I said they have some futuristic shit, but some shit they just don't have. Like, I love what they said on Honest Trailers. They said that the whole Star Wars epic could have been fixed if they had an email.
Oh, yeah.
If Princess Leia could have just emailed, yo, Ben, like, like something like that, everything would have happened.
P, what's up?
Like, yo, I got a message for you, That's what I'm saying, but then we wouldn't have a story. So you gotta have that perfect balance, and I think Star Wars has to see that. I'm just also saying, there's no cameras.
Well, you know why, right? Because in the future they do find out cell phones and Wi-Fi do give you cancer, so they shut it down. You know what I mean? They shut it down. Yeah.
Force cancer.
You can't have it. Yeah, the only way you can communicate is direct line of sight in space from a long distance. Direct line of sight. So, like when you see one destroyer talking to the other, they're right across from each other. All right, maybe a few thousand parsecs away, but or not parsecs, light years away, but line of sight. Line of sight.
Yeah,
line of sight only. Yeah, no. You get Tatooine or something in the middle. You you can't do it.
Right.
But after Alderaan was blown up, you can make collect calls now between the two. So they'd be all right. They'd be all right. But no, I've never understood. I mean, if they went away from that fantasy and made it too realistic, I don't think I'd have as much fun
exactly
in the universe. And I think that's really good. But here's something I was going to ask you, and this is something I kind of want to see happen, but I want to get your take on it. I want to see them take the current Star Wars books that they're writing in
the comic
Marvel,
books,
the comic books in Marvel, so like the Star Wars canon, and I want them to write that up to and time it well, not standard Marvel timing, but realistic timing. Time it up to the next movie, and finish out the story in between, and then give us the filler between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
Well, that's what they're doing. I think they're gonna use the Star Wars comic books as a way to fill in gaps. Okay. So, they're gonna talk about, we're gonna see, one thing I heard. This is just a rumor. I hope they do it. For you people who've seen the movie, if not, turn it off. I mean, don't turn it off, but mute it right here. When Poe separates from Finn in the new movie. They run into him again later, but you don't know what happened. They're gonna do a whole book showing what happened with Poe.
Oh, see, so showing Poe on Jakku.
And, how he met back up with the rebels.
Because it was a good chunk of time.
Yeah, that's completely not explained. Just all of a sudden, you're just so happy to see him, and you don't care how he got there. Yeah. You don't even give a shit. You're just like, oh shit, there's Poe. Which, by the way, the new movie it's good.
Yeah, I would give the movie, if I had to give it 10 stars, I'm going to give this movie a strong 8.7 star.
Explain.
If I talk about what's bad in it, I felt that the new villain, Kylo Ren, was a little emo. I didn't like his for that character. I didn't like his lack of control and his emotional outbursts. They felt fairly out of place because the rest of his demeanor seemed calm. So the first scene when he comes in, very calm. And for example, the blaster scene, where blaster fire and he holds it. You know what I mean?
That scene was badass.
It was badass, but it gave you a level of control that I don't think he felt the rest of the movie exerting. Well, and if anything, I would have felt he would have come apart later in the movie versus showing those signs of that kind of emotional outbreak from jump. Like, it made him feel like a weaker villain than I think they made him out to be.
Well, I don't know. I feel like he was conflicted. I feel like he was a perfect balance of the whiny Anakin and the strongness of Darth Vader. He was the conflicted hero that we were supposed to get in the prequels. There are scenes in the scene where, like you said, there are scenes where he's showing great power in the Force, and there are scenes where he's just being a whiny little bitch, and it's just like he's just confused on everything. I don't know. I liked it. I would say an 8.75, and the only reason why I wouldn't give it a complete 10 is because I'm just gonna say what the new Star Wars film is. It's a $200 million fan film. This is like a fan film. I felt like I was watching a fan film. A great fan film. Yeah. But this felt like a fan film. As in, someone said, I want you to redo the first Star Wars film, but use more diversity and use a new android. I mean, there's so many different things that tie it to the original. I think J.J. Abrams did a really good job at making it feel new but familiar at the same time.
Yeah, and I think a lot of movies haven't captured that adventure sense.
Yes,
that this movie and Episode 4 took you on.
Yes,
and it's from the beginning of the movie, you feel like you're taken for a ride.
Exactly,
it's an enjoyable ride.
Like, it just goes and goes.
Characters,
and goes.
I mean, they hit some comedic portions of it. They get a lot of, I'd say They get a lot of awkward moments in the movie that make the watcher feel a little more comfortable. Where you didn't know what was going on, you're pulling tricks out of your ass. You know what I mean? It's not, oh, well, I feel this, and all of a sudden, oh, things start happening. It's haphazard. There's fumbling around. Not everything's done perfect. And I think that's a lot of the first Star Wars was that journey of, here's a kid in this desert planet, you know what I mean, who's, just looking for adventure. You know what I mean? And they turned that around with this one and gave you, I think, almost rather than just giving you one kid, they kind of gave you two kids.
They give you two different perspectives. You have the one that really doesn't know what's going on, and John Boyega. He completely is just like, which I honestly can't wait to see more with this character, because I refuse to believe that he just woke up one day and just realized, oh my God, all of this is wrong. Like, that's pretty much what happened. Like, the interview, I mean, not interview, but when he, breaks out Poe, and he's talking to Poe, and Poe's like, why are you doing this? He's just like, oh, I just couldn't do this no more. I refuse to believe it's just that simple. I know there's more to it than that. One thing I do like that the people, that J.J. Abrams did, is that they did a really good job in making it seem like Finn was the Jedi.
Right.
Throughout the whole time, you're thinking. I mean, even on the fucking cover of the main poster for episode, excuse me, the newest one. John Boyega's the one holding the lightsaber, and they make it seem like he's the one that's gonna be the Jedi. Turns out he's not a Jedi at all. And the one thing I will say that I appreciate with J.J. Abrams, he was a perfect director for this, because he's known for copying other directors. I mean, we all remember Super 8 was his dedication to Spielberg, and then he did the Star Trek, which is dedication to the older stuff. He's really good at taking the style that a director does and applying it as his own. But one thing I have to salute to J.J. Abrams is that he gave us a good Star Wars movie, and he didn't have to.
Yeah.
He could have made this movie complete shit. He could have just said, you know what? Fuck trying to please anybody. I'm going to do my own shit, create my own stuff, and it doesn't matter because you're going to watch it anyway.
It's funny you say that. I just listened to a podcast of the Howard Stern show where J.J. Abrams was on it, and he was talking about making that movie and how initially he was working on the second Star Trek when they came and approached with him, and he was going to turn it down at first. But him talking to his wife is basically like, you are such a fan, you're going to hate yourself if you don't do this, and you could probably do it justice.
Let me ask you a question. Do you honestly believe that?
Do I honestly believe
that he was like, I don't know if I would have do Star Wars? Oh, do you believe that? I heard that story too.
I believe it was only this, and I believe that he's doing what any smart man would do, is that he had to say that to his wife. Because with all the projects that have lined up, I'm sure it's taken him out of the house. He's been busy. He's missed time and everything. And when you get to that point where you're going to take on a Star Wars, that's going to be a lot more time gone. There's a lot of investment to Star Wars that if you're going to take it on as a current director, like he's not that late in his career where it's like, okay, yeah, you might be coming out and you could just do whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like a Nicolas Cage, where he's apparently got some sort of weird medieval sickness, and he's going to make all the weird movies about him with dragons he possibly can. That are stupid and nobody's going to watch. But he don't care. He's Nicolas Cage. He's got plenty of money. You know? I'm sure there's good script sitting on his desk that he's just waiting to pick up once he doesn't have the budget to do this anymore.
I'm going to do this one.
I'm going to do this one. It sounds stupid.
He's not even getting the breather. He's like, this one.
Exactly. So, to me, I think that shout out to 243 viewers apparently.
That's crazy.
Didn't know how that happened, but thank you. Shout out.
Hey.
Watching. I think that with that, you have to stop and say, how much time could I possibly invest in this? And if you got family and stuff, you've got to let them know. Star Wars comes before you. All right, this is me taking on the role of a king. I will be murdered in the streets if I don't get this right. If I don't, if I don't make the Star Wars fans happy, I'll have a lightsaber in my throat by the end of tomorrow. You know what I mean?
I mean, when you're a spouse, when you're married to a director, That has to come with the territory. As someone who is who was doing the rapping thing, you know, that always was a big problem that I always had, you know, when I had to go on tour and stuff. And you know, all the ladies, any girlfriend I had will always have a problem with that. But you know, this is what I do. This comes with the territory. So with J.J. Abrams, I'm pretty sure he had to go through that with his wife. But this is how we get money. So if I need to be gone, I just need to be gone. You can come with me if you want to, but
yeah, but you gotta understand certain things. Like for example, let's say we're doing this podcast, right? Doing the podcast here, it's fun, you know what I mean? We've got our own little setup, you know, we could do it.
Yeah.
But if somebody bigger, like a Clear Channel or somebody came to our door and said, hey, look, do you guys want to do this podcast live, in a set? We could put writers to it. We could give you guys that next level to make this a full thing, advertise the whole nine. That's a whole recommitment to the project that you have to make. And I think that if you're a Star Wars fan, if you're any kind of Star Wars fan, even as a director, you'd have to stop and say, look, this is going to be a project that I'm going to put that extra into. That, you know, when I first got on, you remember how I was hungry, I was looking to write, and I was there. That's how this project will be for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not going to be like I'm doing like Felicity Project. Like J.J. Abrams puts his names on a lot of things he's not even really part of.
Yeah, it's
like
true.
His name's on Fringe.
Yeah.
He never wrote Fringe, never showed up to the set of Fringe. He hasn't watched all the episodes, you know what I mean?
But he's one of the type of dudes, his name alone.
Oh yeah,
people will fuck with it, especially now that he's done this movie. Like his name now alone, and that's what I'm saying when I'm like, the wife couldn't have had a problem with it, because I'm like, this isn't just a movie. Like you can't call Star Wars just a movie. This is an experience.
Right.
This is history. This is something the world knows. Like we said earlier in this podcast, Star Wars is the most known brand.
Yep.
People know about this. So this isn't like, I'm not directing a movie. I'm creating an experience.
Yes.
That's going to last forever. So I just don't, I don't know. Maybe she did. But I just can't see her being upset about that. Which is, I want to say this. Like, speaking of it being an experience, I went to go see the new Star Wars movie right when it came out. And I brought my stepkids with me. And, you know, it's funny watching this whole thing through their eyes, because they're so shocked that so many people are fucking with Star Wars.
Right.
They're blown away by it. And then there's a part of me that's kind of like, how the fuck do you not understand that? And then there's another part of me that has to go like, oh yeah, this is like their first Star Wars film. They were born in 2000, which makes me feel old, because that was the same year I graduated. They were born in 2000, so all they know are the prequels. They never went to the movies for them. So this is their first Star Wars. So I'm like, okay, this is a great experience for us. The whole time while I watched this movie, there's this guy behind us who is just talking throughout the whole film. And he had that weird nerdy lisp. He talked like this. Oh, the Force is with this guy. And it was just horrible. He's making Jar Jar Binks jokes. And it was just horrible. And I was thinking the whole time, excuse me. When this movie's over, I'm gonna stand up. I'm gonna turn around, and I'm gonna give this guy a piece of my mind. I'm gonna go off on this guy. I couldn't wait for it. I was waiting for it. I was like, I was eating it up. Like, I can't wait. I can't wait to give this guy a piece of my mind. So, right when the movie ended, I stood up, calmly turned around, and there's a fucking 12-year-old. And I was like, I froze for a moment. Because I was like, there's a part of me that was still wanting to talk shit to him. Then I was like, okay, we up here in this white neighborhood. Giant black guy yelling at a little white kid. Not the move.
What are you talking about? You're a Star Wars. Vader kills all the kids.
This is true.
You were
this is true.
Into your
and I had
Anakin.
this shirt on too. And there was a part of my Vaderness, that's a new thing. There's a part of my Vaderness that was kind of like, roast this motherfucker. Then I was like, nah, that's not a good look. And then I saw how angry my stepson was. He was fucking furious because the guy completely ruined my Star Wars experience, and I felt kind of bad because there was part of me that wanted to pay him $20 to just beat this kid's ass. Like, yo, here's $20. Smack the fuck out of this kid right here, and if you get in trouble, I'll take full responsibility.
Yo, I'm weird.
I take full.
So essentially, you wanted to force roast this kid using your inner Anakin, get Darth Black Man on this ass. That would have been the funniest. Like, that would have been the funniest news story. Giant black Darth Vader shirt wearing man force roast 12-year-old youngling Padawan.
You know what,
man? That would have been great.
You know what, man?
That would have been great.
Let me keep it 100 with you, man. Let me keep it 100. I'm a good guy, but sometimes I feel like I get tested. And that was my test. And I feel like hopefully I passed it. But there was a part of me that seriously wanted to give him $20. So after we got out of the theater, I told him, I was like, dude, I almost paid you $20 to smack that kid. And my stepson says the funny thing. He says, shit, I would have done it for free. Yeah. He's like, dude, all you have to do is just be like, yo, smack him. I would have done it. And I was like, my man. Just smack him. My man, just smack this kid real quick. Because I can't do anything. He just smacked the shit out of this kid. Because literally, like, and some people will probably listen to this, watching this, like, oh, that's fucked up. He was a kid. You weren't there. Okay? That motherfucker talked throughout the whole film, and he kept screaming, "Where's Jar Jar?" And no one was laughing.
Oh wait,
no one was laughing. It wasn't funny. He ruined.
Where's the Jar Jar?
He ruined my first experience with my stepchildren with Star Wars. This is an event. This is a moment, and he ruined it. And I wanted to take his life. I wanted to kill this kid.
I wanted to take his life.
Man, you ready to fuck all your parents? They probably sent someone else because they know their son's a piece of shit that talks. Oh yeah, another thing. Since we're on this, dear people, if you have babies,
get into the babies.
Leave them bastards at home. Leave them at home.
Leave them at home. Nobody wants your baby at the movie.
Leave them at home.
Look, I have a baby.
I was gonna say
my baby is 2 months old. You know who my baby was when I was watching Star Wars? In this very apartment, and I was at the movie theater. That's how that works.
You know why? Because you're not a fucking asshole. People who do shit like that, you're a fucking asshole. Yeah. You're a dickhead, not only to the people around you, but to the fucking baby. The baby's probably freaking the fuck out in a closed space with all these people. There's dark, there's music.
Hella loud around. I mean, I haven't been to a movie theater that's quiet for any reason. That's way too loud for a baby.
Like, it's way just too loud. I'm just like, leave the baby. Look, you have a baby. One of two things. If you can't find someone to watch your baby, then stay your ass at home.
Yep.
Then just stay. You have responsibilities. And having responsibilities means you just can't do shit. You have responsibilities, or find a babysitter. If you have to see it the first day, you have to be that guy. The motherfucker, find someone to watch your goddamn baby. I literally sat next to a dude who had a baby. They had a baby and they had all this shit. They had the stroller. They had the bags. You know when you carry a baby, somewhere you gotta carry the diaper bags. Yeah. They had all that shit on the ground. We had to step over it. We had to walk over it. Goddamn baby.
Yeah, dude, it's funny.
Did you just record that?
Yeah, I had to make an extra recording. That's an extra recording. Go watch your damn baby. See, I think this is good because it's like, you know, movie theater rules for people who don't get it, you know, because there's a lot of movie theater rules and some of you can't avoid. So, for example, don't bring your baby. If you're in a movie theater and the movie theater is not packed, because see, I'm the kind of person where I don't need to go see a movie the day it opens all the time.
Right.
I do that with Marvel movies. I do that with DC. Anything comic related or certain sci-fi movies I will go see first day. But if I'm going to go see something that I'm unsure of, I'll wait like 2 weeks. I'll go see it in the middle of the afternoon when most people are working or something, you know, because I get off work kind of early sometimes.
No.
If I have a seat right in the middle of the movie theater, and you come in after me, don't fucking sit in front of me and don't fucking sit behind me. I want to punch those freaking people.
I'm with
like,
you.
Dude, you have a whole movie theater.
You gonna sit right there?
You can't sit a row in front of me. You got to sit right up in front of me. Or if we got a spaced out set of rows, and there's like 3 seats over to the right, 3 seats over, make us leave 1 seat between me and you.
Right.
Don't come near me with you and your 8, 9 fucking kids. Sit right next to me like I don't know what's going on, and then look at me crazy when I get the fuck up, cuss you out, and walk to another seat.
No, seriously, because going to movie theaters, there's one main principle: shut the fuck up. Just shut up. Shut up. Because whatever you're gonna say, it could wait to the end of the movie. Shut up. Watch the movie. If you say something small, whatever. But don't be sitting there trying to have a whole conversation with the motherfucker, like right in front of you, or right behind you, or right next to you. Just don't be a dick. Just don't be a dick.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
All right. But anyway,
yeah,
so
okay, back.
We got a whole bunch of people in here right now, and I'm sorry to have to do this, but we're at the point where we kind of do have to give some spoilers on Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
I have no remorse. It's been a week. If you haven't seen it yet,
if you haven't seen it, I keep getting nice music. Do I have music on? I don't think I have music on. There should be no music on this podcast. But if that's, if the music is my sexy voice, then, that's what's up. So I'm going to check it real quick just because I'm curious. Okay. If there's music on the Starcast. Let me see. There is no music on this podcast. So
there is no music.
Thank you.
Thank you. The music is not on.
Somebody asked me if I ever played WoW. I played WoW for 7 levels and I gave up on the game because I have a life. Sorry to do that to you.
You know what? I've lost 3 friends to WoW. I've lost them. We were good homies. We were friends. They started playing WoW. I don't know what happened to them.
Dude, the Force did not awaken within those people, man. I don't know what to say.
Force did
they still playing WoW too. Everybody I know who was playing WoW like 10 years ago, they play WoW.
They even got that horrible ass. Even got the whole ass movie coming out. That's just CGI'd the fuck out. You know what I'm saying?
It's the first 10 minutes to every Blizzard game is that movie. They just took them all and put them together. That's all they put it all together. Like, I don't think anybody's going to notice if we do this, but we're just going to take all 10 of the intros of our video games, and we're just going to put them in one thing and release it as a movie.
And just release it.
Dude, it's too funny. But, all right, so Star Wars Episode 7, like you said, roughly on average, 8.725 in the house. Very good movie. I would probably say that this movie, if I had to liken this movie to any other Star Wars movie, it would definitely be Episode 4: A New Hope. If you watch that movie and then watch this movie, you will essentially see 90% of what you saw in Episode 4 as far as the scene types in the movie.
Yes.
So you're going to get a desperate last minute attempt to stop the bad guy in their super weapon. You're going to see planets get blown up. You're going to watch as some curious wanderer who is looking for answers to who they are
on a desert planet
find their way, and for some reason still want to go back to the desert planet, which I didn't understand because fuck the desert
I
planet.
hope they explain more of that, but go ahead.
The new Luke Skywalker to this time is a female.
I'm all for it. I'm glad.
I like it. This
movie broke a lot of stereotypes with the female being led. One of my favorite scenes was, Finn, the black guy, Boyega, John Boyega's character. He has this thing that he does where he always has to grab someone back. Let's go. Yeah. He's always doing that. He has to grab a friend and just be like, let's go. We gotta get out of here. And I like with her character. She was like, you don't have to pull me everywhere. I like that scene. She's like, I can handle this. I'm the boss. And I like that you find out that she's the Jedi. I like that you find that out because J.J. Abrams pulled a hezzy on us. He shook us. Had us thinking, I'm going this way. Nope, I'm going this way with it. I really like that they did that.
Yeah.
I also thought it was crazy how J.J. Abrams has successfully completed, given us a Star Wars film without Jedis or Sith Lords.
Yeah.
There wasn't a single one. And then when you say that, a lot of Star Wars fans' heads start to explode. How do you do that? How do you do that? Because the Star Wars universe is bigger than that now. There's too many characters. There's too many people who are a part of it. This is why I'm glad the next movie they're doing next year is Star Wars Rogue One. Because I've been saying for years, what about the X-Wing and TIE fighters?
Right.
These guys always get shoehorned in the end, and you don't really learn anything about them.
Yeah, because they're doing all the work.
They're doing most of the
work.
They're
doing, 99%
they're the ones
of the
dying.
work.
They're the ones that are out there. I'm like,
they're the whole rebel base.
Seriously.
Is to set up the freaking to set up your spaceships.
So it's like they have, it's about time that we get something on that, and I'm looking forward to it. Disney, once again, this is Disney here, who also does all these Marvel movies. Disney has learned, oh shit, if we just make a bunch of movies and tie them all together, everyone will go see it. It's a formula everyone's starting to use now. X-Men is starting to do it. DC's about to get ready on it. And, it's something that Marvel created. Disney created that formula, and they're about to do the same thing with Star Wars.
It's kind of funny that Marvel created that formula, because it's something that I've always felt that Marvel did a good job, or hasn't done a good job of.
Okay.
And that's bringing continuity.
Books? Oh, yeah.
And, Marvel as a whole. And Marvel's doing it now with their films, and I think because they've done it with their films, they're starting to see the success of having a level of continuity that brings people along for the entire ride. You can't just change something that's canon every time it fits this individual story. Marvel Comics did that a lot, and I'm glad to see that their movies have shown them that you could take something like a Star Wars, where Star Wars is driven around the fact that you go through a 3-movie cycle of this is our world, these are our characters, this is what our entire force is about, and then they take you and allow you to, just kind of experience that universe and movies, comics, toys, and everything. And now Marvel's saying, hey, look, we can now write you all the filler for these universes that you grew up with, as well as bring you the continuation of, what happened after all these people died. Empires don't last forever. As we see in this new movie, the empire is gone. And now it's the neo-Nazi First Order that's come in. And for anybody who's seen the film, it's a very obvious throwback to Nazis with the First Order. Yes. I mean, they basically used the exact Nazi paraphernalia. I'm sure it's damn near the same outfit. They just went for black over brown, which makes sense because black's easier to clean than brown. Brown's always gonna get dirty. You know what I mean? That's one of the biggest problems with the Nazi Party was they had to do a lot of laundry.
They did a lot of laundry.
Yeah, so started breaking them financially. They're like, look, you can't be killing people in brown, man. This shit stains. You want us to all look normal and good and everything. You can't be doing that.
Can't be doing that.
So they've gone with the First Order in the new Star Wars, but it feels like the Empire. So you have that continuity of the government-backed force of the Sith, if you will, of the dark side, where they don't just tie into, okay, we have lightsabers, you have Force choke. They go into, well, no, we integrate a level of darkness to the galaxy that is all-encompassing.
Well, one thing I do like is that they're not the Empire. They want to be the Empire. They're trying. It's like a cult almost. They're trying to get there, and to the point where they're even doing things on their own. For example, Finn's character is not a clone. That's they're trying to do their own thing. They're now called the First Order. They're we're going to take a lot of things that the Empire did that we really, really liked, and we're going to do it our own way. One of my biggest disappointments was, even though it goes back to Star Wars lore, is that the Captain Phasma character, I think I'm saying that right, is it Captain Phasma?
Yes.
I was really hoping she'd be a new Boba. I remember I posted this on a blog the other day. I said my biggest complaint was that Captain Phasma, I wanted her to be a new type of Boba. Someone made a good point. He was like, well, she showed up, didn't really do much, and then just like Boba. And I was like, yeah, I guess you're right.
I think what they did with that, and I think they're trying to strategize, just like with Boba, is how are people going to react to seeing a higher level stormtrooper? And not only that, but a different stormtrooper. And, now I'm sure everybody knows there was a black man in Star Wars, and he dressed in all white. All right? There was a black guy who was a stormtrooper. Now, I understand what many people might be thinking is that's damn near impossible because nobody could put on armor like a stormtrooper. It's not like in the first movie, Luke and Han or anybody was able to put on stormtrooper armor and walk around. So that's virtually impossible for anybody else to be a stormtrooper other than the clones of, you know.
Are you referring to the people who were mad about John Boyega's character?
You know, I think that they were mad because that had to really offend them in all things Star Wars. Now,
here's my problem with that. No, here's the deal. I honestly think that whole shit started by just a troll. I think there was some troll shit because who are these people who are talking about boycotting Star Wars? I'm like, dude, do you see how much money it made? Who the fuck are these people that are supposedly boycotting it? Obviously, it doesn't mean shit.
I heard the craziest shit around this. Like, somebody actually said that having a black stormtrooper somehow was Star Wars' way to say that they were bringing down the white man.
Yeah, seriously. And there's some crazy motherfucker out there that really believes this shit.
I was like, holy shit, you're talking about Star Wars. This is a show about a galactic group of empires that are going against each other with hundreds of thousands of alien species. All can wield the Force, all can wield blasters. So racially independent.
No, seriously. Being a racist Star Wars fan doesn't make sense. I said it from the get-go. Being a racist Star Wars fan doesn't make sense for two reasons. Number one, it's not even about the human race. It's about all races. So how can you be racist against a black dude but be okay with giant Wookiees, Mandalorians?
I had a problem with Jar Jar though. I had a problem with Jar Jar's people. You know, we still don't get along. I took my wallet every time I see one of them Binks motherfuckers, alright? Every time I hear somebody else, Zuba, I'll be like, oh shit,
what the fuck is a Jar Jar Binks? I don't know what you're referring to. I don't know what a Jar Jar Binks is. What is a Jar Jar Binks?
It's a prequel.
No clue what that is.
It's a prequel flaw.
Nope, it doesn't exist. But yeah,
hey, I know you saw real quick though. Did you see the Jar Jar Binks is really Sith Lord?
Everyone's pushing that.
Have you seen it though?
Yes, I have.
That to me, that would have saved the prequels. That would have saved if you had something so retardedly cold going on, and then just made him this evil fucker at the end. Like,
you know what?
All the woo-saw, just cold, evil, death voice.
I mean, why couldn't the main force be? I mean, why can't the Sith Lord be a Gungan? You know what I'm saying? Like, it could be anybody.
Because I like how they break it down. He performs a 20-foot jump and a flip with little to no knowledge. He constantly manipulates situations because he constantly talks before people. We saw, you saw, go shoot self. And then people go out into the jungle and they shoot themselves.
That'd be some crazy shit. There's some hardcore Star Wars fan right now creating a fan fiction where he is the main one. I lay that on the table right now. But yeah, that's number one why they can't be racist. Number two, motherfucker, George Lucas is married to a black woman. I don't know if y'all know this.
He got jungle
fever. The guy that created Star Wars. Your Lord and Savior, George Lucas, is married to a sister.
Yep.
So shut the fuck up. You can't say nothing. There's nothing you can say. That ends all your arguments. Oh, no black people. Well, Google his wife. Yeah. He is married to his sister. So you can't. Yeah, stop it.
Exactly.
Stop it.
So you have this new character. So you get in a sense of adventure, like we were saying before, between the main character Finn and the main character Rey. And with both characters, you kind of have one of them is trying to wait for something, trying to wait to see if her family's going to come back, finding her destiny, and the other one is trying to run away and ends up running away to his destiny. And I think that that's a good feel for the first movie.
Yeah,
I think that taking us on that adventure is attached us to the characters because I like the female Jedi. I like the fact that they continued on with something that I thought was really prevalent in the first episodes 3 through 6, and that was that you didn't have the sexist feel that you had in a lot of movies. Where
right.
Princess Leia, from jump, strong woman. She is a general.
Yeah.
She is a soldier.
Yes.
From jump. Even in her more recent book.
Yeah,
you know, they wrote.
Yeah.
They did a 5-part kind of miniseries called Princess Leia, and even in her own book, she's still a really strong female.
Well, Star Wars has always been, you know, that person that, I mean, they've always pushed diversity. They've always had like a strong female character. So I'm glad that continued into the new one.
Yeah, and with that, you know, I think that you have an interesting side, or not even interesting side. You just have a new character.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of shows and books miss is when you make the character a female versus male, you don't have to like make everything different about the character. Guys and girls go through the same bullshit 90% of life outside of, you know, a lot of the just reproductive properties of it. But as far as challenges in your life, finding out who you are, overcoming adversity, things of that nature, those are all very relatable experiences for guys and girls that, you know, I think them flipping the, you know, character was just more surprise in the movie because I thought it was going to be Finn too. I had already wrote out this whole thing in my head, you know, as I'm watching this movie where, you know, Finn was affected by the Force, by the, you know, there was so much darkness in what he witnessed when he first got off the ship.
Exactly.
That, you know, the Force tapped him basically.
Right.
The Force brought him over and reprogrammed him to a degree, or just opened him up to question it.
Right.
And that his journey was going to be one of discovery. And just kind of like how he said with, like I said earlier in the podcast with Anakin, he was born of the Force. But then again, you know, you had the same kind of Anakin/Luke story with Rey, where we don't know where she came from.
Exactly.
And my dad, it's kind of funny. I was talking to my dad. I actually went to go see it with my pops.
Oh, okay, cool.
And I was talking to him, and he was telling me that, you know, well, she could be Obi-Wan's daughter. You know, kind of opening up the idea of, you know, is she going to be somebody's kid who we already know? And I told him straight up, I was like, well, if anybody, it's not Obi-Wan.
Right.
And the reason why it's not Obi-Wan is Obi-Wan has a fairly well-documented history in both the current canon comics as well as the older non-canon external universe. And we know that he didn't have children up to the fall of the Republic. And we know that he went on Tatooine for up to, you know, 20 years or 19 years while Luke was, you know, a kid from, you know, Luke's birth on. And we met old Ben-Wan Kenobi in the same place that we see him in the comic book in A New Hope. So he was still old Ben Kenobi through the entire time of Luke's life, meaning that if he would have gone out and would have had a kid, he'd be a bastard ass father. Right. And not only that, but she apparently was on Jakku since the time she was a kid, which would have meant that not only that, but Obi-Wan would have had to have her, and she would have had to stay a baby for like 10 years between New Hope and Return of the Jedi. And then be put on Jakku, and then age another 19 years, because it's been about another 19 years from the, you know, because that's roughly how old Kylo Ren's supposed to be. Is around, like, he's supposed to be a young or older teenager, early 20s, I think, from when the Return of the Sith movie happened.
Well, I get what you're saying. You know, there's a lot of, and I think they did a good job in leaving. They explained enough about Rey to, but not enough, but left enough for you to. They left enough for you to come up with your own theories,
right? Until
they finally let us know, which 2 years later, which is ridiculous. I feel like that's too long, but that means they did their job. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And we're feeding for the next one. I feel like they did their job. I'm excited for it. I really, really was hoping that they wouldn't make Rey and Finn a couple.
See, it seems like they are, but I don't know. Like, it just seems...
I don't think so.
No, here's why I say it's a throwback.
Okay.
Luke and Leia.
Yeah.
You felt like Luke and Leia were going to be a couple.
That was a psych out. That was such a psych out.
Think about it. Bringing it right back. Because think about it. They're two young people. They're both new to the situation. They're really excited. But they never went forward with this, anything, right?
Well,
now she's going to go become a Jedi. She's gonna have a whole.
So that means she can't
thing.
she can't do anything.
Yeah, she can't go that way.
Yeah.
Even though the chocolate's gonna be tempting, you know,
the chocolate is
now,
always
either
tempting.
that or we get a better version, I hope, of the storyline that they were trying to give away in Attack of the Clones, where you do have this forbidden love between this Jedi and this other person. And with the rebuilding of the Jedi Temple, with the rebuilding of the Jedi Order, do you have, you know, that kind of freedom to go outside?
Right.
And of course, we don't know how strict Luke's going to be either, because Luke has apparently already tried to rebuild the Jedi Order in this new storyline and failed.
Right.
And not only failed, but from what they made it seem like, is that other students he had were killed by Kylo Ren. So he not only failed to bring back the Jedi Order, but he's also failed people individually and had them killed as a result.
And that's why I'm hoping Kylo Ren doesn't, like, all of a sudden realize, oh no, what I did was wrong. I'm like, even if he did, like, motherfucker, you killed the hell of people. Like, you have to address to these crimes. Like, you can't just be like, oh, well, all's forgiven. No, fuck that. That's why I'm hoping that they just keep going with that. They keep going with him being like that.
Right. And I'd like to see that. But then again, like I said, I'd like to just see him go, especially after he ends up murdering his pops. I'd like to just see him go full dark. You know what I'm saying?
I know. Now you can't go back. He done murked Han Solo.
I want to see him, like, look, Vader was a bitch compared to me now. Like, I want to see him, nothing, because he's got the scar on his face, you know, now. So he's got the whole Doom thing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He's got the scar, the reminder. I don't know if he's going to end up with some cybernetic parts. Because you remember he got stabbed through the shoulder. Like, there was a couple of cuts that I couldn't make out the final damage. But if he is a Skywalker, so he should have one less arm.
He needs to lose a limb somewhere. I mean, you know, to me, Kylo Ren, he killed Han Solo. Vader wasn't able to do that. So to me, that puts Kylo Ren a little bit above him. Like, when the smoke cleared, Darth Vader killed a bunch of people, but he didn't kill none of the main people.
Darth Vader killed, like, all the Jedi. Like,
no,
Darth Vader killed, like, every... I mean, you
Darth
can call
Vader
Anakin,
did it. Anakin did.
But he'd given to the dark side of the Force, so technically he had already been crowned Vader.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
So that's Vader. Right. I mean, come on now.
I mean, Vader will always be that dude.
Yeah.
But people acting like Kylo Ren's a bitch. Like, dude, he killed his fucking dad. Like, what the fuck? Like that shit's crazy.
Kylo Ren, and like I said, a lot of his behavior, I think, came off very whiny. It came off very crybaby-ish. Off, like, think about this. Let me put it this in perspective, all right?
Okay.
You just built the big-ass Sun Eater, right? You probably spent a good 320 zillion freaking credits on this motherfucker, right? And you still pouring money in by the day. You got staff there. You got people there. The people's jobs on the line. You boosting the economy. You doing all this stuff, right? As your empire. You got this punk ass kid coming in and destroying hundreds of $1,000s credits worth of equipment because he's having a temper chapter. You see how bad he did that console?
Yeah, he did.
He fucked that console. And you see, it's not like he just did it, because remember when the stormtroopers were walking around the corner? They heard him throwing a fit. Like, dude, they're like, man, I ain't going in there, man. I ain't going. He probably gonna kill one of us. Another man down.
But I like that scene because that's their way of showing you that the stormtroopers now have personality. Yeah. Like, the older stormtroopers would have just walked in and just been, and probably got force choked or stabbed. But I like him throwing his temper tantrums because that's his. That's a part of his character. That's what he is. He's, you know. And let's be honest, Anakin was a whiny bitch. Luke was a whiny bitch. Huh?
Luke was a little bitch, and Luke had good reason. Remember, here's the thing about Luke. Luke was an adult when he was thrown into this whole conflict. So he didn't have the Jedi training. He didn't have all this. He was asked to basically fight in this war as a Jedi without the training. I mean, his mentor, his surrogate dad, died in like the first episode. Where Anakin, like, dude, you were trained from a little kid. Like, there's a whole different level of training, which is one of the reasons, like, when people are like, oh, well, Luke is stronger than Vader. Like, Luke Vader has years of training with the greatest Jedi Masters. I mean, they even talked about he trained with Obi-Wan, Yoda. Like, he was training with the Masters by the time he moved over to the dark side.
Right.
So, for me, that... How do I put it? That level of whininess and bitchiness from Anakin was unwarranted. The level of whininess and bitchiness from Kylo Ren is just, to me, kind of seems unwarranted as well. Because it's not like you're just... If he would have just choked out some stormtroopers, I would have been more okay with it. But dude, you're really costing the Empire or First Order a lot of money with your temper tantrum.
I mean,
they're gonna go broke by the time they're done with this kid.
I mean, I think, but that was the thing, was that I don't think that Kylo Ren, because General Hux was like kind of telling him what to do. I don't think Kylo Ren is at Darth Vader's level. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that he has that same order of, you know, he's not in charge as much. So he does throw little temper tantrums and shit. So, I don't know. I think that they're going to add more to it. Either way, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm ready for it. Like, I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be a Star Wars book coming up on Marvel showing what happened with Kylo Ren, because we don't know. We don't know what happened.
We don't know, and I think it could be a very entertaining story.
Yeah,
but without it, like I said, that is the only part that bugged me, and it's probably more because I had such a disconnection with Hayden Christensen's version of Anakin, and I was such a big Darth Vader fan.
I'm gonna say I'm still.
You know what I mean? So
to me, those movies don't.
Yeah, I mean, we want to say they don't count, but let's keep it real. They came out. They're in the canon.
Oh no, they're there. They exist.
We have to judge them. We have to judge them. You know.
Yes. Yeah.
So, for the most part, I still probably say that. I'd probably say that I am like 99.9% excited for the next one.
I'm all for it. I'm ready. I like the characters. I want to hear more about them. I hate to say I'm bitten by the BB-8 bug. He's going to be everywhere. Oh, wait, going to be. He's already everywhere. They want more. And I saw someone post that they don't like how they're posting BB-8 everywhere. You have to understand something. This is Disney.
You guys Disney. Remember Wall-E? You remember Wall-E? That was the man. You remember Short Circuit?
Let's go even more recent.
Come on.
Rocket Raccoon. I called the Rocket Raccoon. I called the Rocket Raccoon because I said, right when they said, we're making a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, I was like, oh shit, Rocket Raccoon's going to be everywhere. And people don't understand how crazy that is, because literally a year ago, no one knew who the fuck Rocket Raccoon was. No one even knew his existence. This is the character that was created in the 80s during the big Ninja Turtle hype. Now anamorphic animals are the big thing. And so they created Rocket Raccoon to fight the Hulk and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, Disney is big on taking something small and cute and putting it everywhere.
Yes.
And putting it everywhere. Yes. And now you will never escape BB-8. He's here.
He is. I mean, and don't get it wrong. There's a charm to those kind of characters that they bring to movies that, you know, it's hard not to like those cute little characters. Kids like them. Other people, it's easy to, you know, you don't have the emotional disconnect of other characters because, you know, when you understand beep beep is good and beep is sad. You know
I want an evil droid. I want an evil one like in the Darth Vader book. I want an evil droid.
I want the 000 Matrix to make it over into C-3PO.
Yeah,
just for like part of one of the movies.
Seriously, I just want an evil droid. Cause I just refuse to believe all of these droids are just nice and just cute little things. No, there's gotta be one that is just going to just blow your head off when it gets a chance. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one. I think they did a good job. And let's just say something, you know, that, you know, if anyone hasn't seen it yet, and you're crazy enough to listen to all these spoilers, I just want to say, Star Wars is back.
Star Wars is definitely back. And like I said, if you haven't seen it, go see the new movie. It is that good. If you haven't seen the old movies and you're thinking about jumping into Star Wars, go see this movie first. and you'll probably want to go back and watch the old ones. I mean, it's a good movie. It's a fun ride. The special effects are great. Really likable characters. There's a whole comic side to it. There's a brand new game. You can go out and get Star Wars Battlefront.
I love it.
He loves it. I
it.
enjoyed like I said, I have personal bias reasons against EA suck-ass sports that I don't play it. But I did like the beta.
Let that hate go, boo. Let that hate go.
I can't let it go.
Let that hate go.
let my NFL 2K5 come back and I'll let the hate go. You know
they making too much money on WWE now.
Know, I'm telling you. But go see it. 2D, 3D. Don't let that stop you. Go see it in either one. It's a great experience. Let's see. As far as comics go, like I said, they have several lines of comics. There's a Star Wars main line, which is mainly tied Star Wars. The Lando book, which was a 5-issue run. It is currently over, and it was titled Lando. Princess Leia's book, which was titled, aptly, Princess Leia. Also another 5-issue run. Great book. Canon, The Last Padawan, which is now a 12-issue miniseries. Which... If you like the character, if you like the animated series, pick it up.
Watch Star Wars Rebels? I don't know anyone who watches Star Wars Rebels.
I don't. I have to go back and watch some Clone Wars because I hear that's really good, and I've been kind of saving that one.
I'm mad that they have like a girl Mandalorian on their team. They have like a girl Boba on the team on the show. That's the only reason why I want to watch it. Like, that's kind of weird.
It seems very much like Marvel is taking the road of we want more diversity within our cast members. And this is one of the titles where they did it right. Now, personally, in some of the Marvel titles, I don't agree with it. And only because, and we talked about this a little bit on the last podcast,
yes, we did.
I don't like when they reuse a character and just make them female. I want original female characters. Like, Rey in Star Wars, she feels like an original character to me. She doesn't feel like she's just a recycled Luke Skywalker. She doesn't have the same origin. Like, if they were to make her in the first movie just say, well, she's somehow Luke's kid, or she's Han Solo and Leia's kid, and just continue the same Skywalker, I wouldn't have been a big of a fan of her character.
Right.
I like the fact that I don't know her origin. I'm following a new adventure, and I have a new character that just happens to be female. I don't really, I do have a daughter. I don't really care that she's a female, even though I think it's cool that she has a better set of role models to look up to. Because, like I said, I like that about Leia all the time.
Exactly.
Leia seemed like Leia will punch you in the fucking face.
Right. That's another reason why I didn't. I mean, I said that the episode 3 was my favorite of the prequels, but there was something that I hated about it was that they sidelined what's her name? Princess Leia's mom. Padme.
Padme, yeah.
They sidelined her. They took a character who was a leader, who was strong. Literally, the movie before, she was out fighting people with the gun. She was ready, and then they just sidelined her. Oh, I'm so preggo. Oh, I can't move. I'm just like, no, this isn't what Star Wars is about. Like, that's not what it was. It was about pushing the line with diversity and giving us new characters that we can care about. So, shout out to Rey. I love that her figure is selling out everywhere. Like, you can't find her action figure. People are just fighting. And it's partly because it comes with a BB-8 little toy. But also, like, I like that. Like, it's about time.
BB-8 for life. See, and speaking of BB-8, I hope that they just go nuts with this character.
They are.
And instead of just leaving him as a cute little droid, I want them to make my dude right here the evil Sith Lord behind the scenes. No arms, no legs. He just, like, see how his head floats? He just welds lightsabers and just have him pop out like 6 lightsabers for no reason. And nobody can understand him because he's just a beep, and he's guiding Rey. He's teaching Rey to be his young apprentice, having him go, learn the light side from Luke and everything like that, so she understands both sides of the Force. But we never know because he's just a droid. And R2-D2 was the evil Sith Lord prior to him. And basically the droids are taking over.
And that's why R2 didn't work at first. The BB-8 shut him down.
Exactly.
BB-8 was like, nah, son. Nah. If they pulled that off, That would be amazing.
That
You know how many
would be
kids
dope.
have the toys for this already? And where's the life-size BB-8 at? Like, where's that at? I'm shocked they haven't gotten that popping yet. They got the little tiny one, but they don't have like the life-size one.
By next year, you're going to hear some small Stanford research group or something who's created a working BB-8 model.
Oh, dude, they're already on YouTube.
Just to shit on Neil deGrasse Tyson, and they'll only show videos of it in the desert. Like there won't be any, like, does it go over ice or anything? Shut up! It's only being filmed.
No, there's YouTube's online. No, Star Wars. When I said earlier in this podcast, there's YouTube's online showing them working on just BB-8 in the desert scenes, and they sent it to Neil deGrasse Tyson, and they're like, "Look, this is 100% a puppet. This is not CGI." So. Yeah, dude. No BB-8 slander. Like, I said it once, I said it again. I think it's funny. Out of all the shit Neil deGrasse Tyson said, it was the BB-8 comment that Star Wars was like, no.
Shut this down.
Yeah.
Do you realize what the revenue base for BB-8 was weekend one? All right, this is driving entire departments right now.
Seriously.
We got a BB-8 cartoon coming up, a BB-8 movie.
Wait for it. You say that as a joke, but let's be honest here. Like, that's gonna happen. I'm waiting for the BB-8 comic.
Yep.
I'm waiting for the BB-8. BB-8 more figures, more stuffed plush toys. I'm waiting for all of it.
BB-8 will probably be DLC in Smash Brothers. Just wait for it. Just wait for it.
So have a little flame. Is one of the
little flame come out. Smash Brothers character. It'd be good, dude.
That'd be dope.
It'd be awesome. I got a random question I'm gonna answer for no reason, just because I know. What kind of mouse do I use? I have a Logitech Proteus 502 GeForce mouse. Wow, look at that, dude. It's like see-through on the thing. That's kind of tight. But you can kind of see through it. But it's a Logitech gaming mouse. And I got a Logitech gaming keyboard and all that other stuff. So, just in case you're curious. As far as video games I play Smash Brothers. Mostly. I also play... yeah, that's it. I also play Marvel's Capcom, Street Fighter, Xenoblade X, all kind of PC games. I'm a gamer for life. That's kind of what I do prior to this. So most of the people who followed me before know me from gaming and gaming streams, but I also do comic podcasts now. So that's what I'm going to be doing and bringing to y'all every Sunday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, for like 2 to 3 hours roughly, until we, depending on the conversation, until we get like done.
So we just get done with the combo.
But this is Where's My Super Suit? And for the main topics, which was Star Wars, that's kind of it outside of bullshitting. If you got anything else Star Wars on your mind.
No, that's it, man. Just looking forward to the new stuff. I know that, they're going to make a Han Solo prequel. Because,
they're going to make a Han Solo prequel movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know who would be good to cast in that role, but I want to know how him and Chewie met and why they're just a bond. I don't think that's ever been fully explained. It's just, there's Han, there's Chewie.
And see, that's kind of interesting that you say that, because in the books now, in the Vader book particularly, we've got introduced to, and I don't know his name, but another Wookiee who's basically a bounty hunter.
Yeah, the Wookiee bounty hunter.
So it's interesting that, I guess Chewie isn't necessarily that far outside of the normal Wookiee experience of, I take other jobs that humans take that anybody takes. Just like many of the alien species, but I didn't expect, for whatever reason, to see a Wookiee bounty hunter just pop up out of nowhere.
Well, that's one thing I've always liked about the Star Wars universe, is that so far I haven't seen a single race that is limited. You know what I'm saying? Like, any race could be a Jedi. Like, anyone could be a Jedi. I don't know about the Hutts. But anyway, for what it looks like, anyone could be a Jedi, anyone could be a bounty hunter, and that's one thing I've always liked about it. They're not limited, so I think that was a pretty cool thing. They want to do that. I want a Yoda prequel. I'm pretty sure they're gonna get on that.
See, I think a Yoda prequel would be hard though, because you got to remember, Yoda was like 900 years old when he died.
Well, not just that.
there's so much history.
Exactly that has never been talked about. What race is he? What happened to the rest of his race? Why is he the only one? That's one. Number two, when we first meet Yoda in episode 1, he's already the dude. He's already that nigga. Eventually, he had to be a Padawan. Eventually, someone had to train him. Eventually, he had to get to that point.
Maybe, or he just badass.
We got here. He's a badass.
When they showed up to the first Jedi Council meeting, there was Yoda standing there already. It was like, what's up?
He was already that dude, but I said it once, I say it again. Bruce Lee had to have an It Man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, to get to Bruce Lee, there had to have been someone to show them that way. And same thing with It Man. Someone had to show him this is the way. And so that's the story I want to see. That's the story I want to watch. That's just me.
I think that would be the hardest story to tell. Because like a Han Solo story, that would be hard to cast. I get that. But I think the Yoda story would be hard to tell only because where do you really start? And I only say that because if you go back to Yoda as a Padawan, right?
Yeah.
You're going back so far. You have to make up an entire universe right now around this character.
Okay.
Which I'm just saying. I'm not saying don't do it. Right. I'm just saying I could see that being the more challenging item to write because if you look at, like you said, if you look at Star Wars goes back some like 20-something thousand years.
Exactly.
As far as like what they actually have. They have galactic wars that they have writings about 20-something thousand years ago.
When does Coder take place? Did you play Coder? Knights of the Old Republic?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my bad. Okay.
Yeah, Knights of the Old Republic takes place like 200 years before Star Wars. So it's like, it's something that can be done.
It can. I just think it'd be interesting to see where they went. Or if they decide to go with a, story where he influenced another Luke. Like, did you have other Padawans or other Jedi who you influenced at the level of, Luke or at the level of, Anakin and kind of Obi-Wan. Like you said, you were that dude at that period of time. You know what I mean? And not even, like Mace was that dude, kinda, but he wasn't that dude.
He was not.
Like Yoda was.
Mace was that dude, but Yoda was that.
Yeah,
dude.
you were known as that dude. And but is there anybody else like Yoda? Because remember, we're in a corner of the galaxy. Like, what if Yoda's people are all still alive?
That's what I'm saying.
Like, what if Yoda just believed his people were dead or something? Right. Or what if Yoda, slaughtered all his people?
Right.
And then took off and, was goody two-shoes for the rest of his life.
Right.
He's deceptive. He walked around with that cane and didn't need it.
I'm just saying.
You know what I'm saying?
There's a lot of stuff that they can do, and I'm looking forward to it. I want more info on Boba. Because Boba, when they introduced Boba was the galaxy's most feared bounty hunter. Now imagine they made a Star Wars movie all about Boba Fett and all about him going on these crazy ass hunts, these crazy ass missions, these crazy ass bounties. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to see. You can do a show, you can do a comic based on just Boba Fett and just him, how he became that nigga. Because a lot of shit just happened. All of a sudden, Boba Fett's that dude.
Yeah,
but then
you were a kid abandoned by, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you no longer had a dad, you no longer had this.
And they explain why he hates Jedi. They explain that. Like, I want to see it now. Like, okay, let's see it now. Let's see what happened.
Yeah.
And they could do so much more with it because they're trying to do as many Star Wars movies as they do like Marvel movies. They're trying to drop like 3-4 a year. So they're gonna get to that point. They're gonna start with one. Then within like 3 or 4 years, they're gonna be like,
out the whole universe.
They're gonna do the whole thing. Why not?
As long as they don't do Kane in the last Padawan, the movie, I'll be good.
Oh God, I doubt it. Let's be honest here. They bought Star Wars for $5 billion.
Yeah.
They need to be $4 billion. They need to be milking it for what it's worth. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like I said, they saw how quickly it paid off in year one.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you said, just the movie.
They've already made their money back multiple times.
And it's a week. Yeah. So the action figures, all the paraphernalia, dude, I go shopping for my daughter, dude. Everything I see is like kids' t-shirts, Star Wars this.
Star Wars is everywhere, dude.
Everything. But yeah, it's a good world. Go invest in it. follow the comics, follow the movies, follow the games, enjoy it. And with that, we're going to close out this episode of Where's My Super Suit? You guys have a good evening. May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with and the Schwartz be with you.
The Schwartz be with you all week. BB-8!
No.